That Rocky Branch area there that typically piles up with water, that's going to cause some issues in and around Columbia. But there's some heavy rain. If we go back to Newberry County just for a second, Vaughn, and also at some point, this is going to be that spot. So our photographer, Jeff Diamond, is moving up I-26 here westbound, trying to see what's happening. And even though this doesn't really right now show a lot of tornadic signatures, what it does indicate heavy, or I should say heavy rain, but also very, very damaging wind gust that will continue rolling through this area here, pushing to the northeast. And so there are going to be some spots, Prosperity, you're going to really start to feel the wind pretty soon, maybe shaking the house a little bit. You might feel it a little bit in Pomeria. You're kind of feeling it a bit over in Newberry right now. But this leading edge here will most likely push a lot of those winds farther to the east. That tornado warning, though, expires in about another minute in Newberry County. So we hope that you're in that safe location and that you're continuing to stay as safe as possible as we look at this. Vaughn, you'll see it right there, mainly those areas to the north. Things have improved. And with that image there as well. Let's go back to that image there from one of our photographers, Jeff Diamond, on I-26 westbound. You'll see that we do have the camera here, and it's showing you, of course, you know that stretch of I-26 is kind of rough anyway, because there's a lot of construction going on there in the east and westbound direction, but that's already a bit of a tough drive in that direction. So understand that, yeah, you just need to stay put at this point. But look at the dark clouds in the distance, and you see the rain that is already on the windshield, and you've got that mess on the roadways too. So as you head out and about this afternoon, just understand that there could be some localized flooding or flash flooding here and there. And at times, I know you'll look in the distance like, well, that looks a little interesting with that cloud. That could be a couple of scud clouds there. It doesn't necessarily mean that we do have an actual tornado that's in the sky or about to form with the funnel cloud. There's a couple of scud clouds. So that's that view from I-26 westbound. What we do see right now is that the tornado warning for Newberry County has now expired, and the tornado warning for Orangeburg County has expired. So both at 3:45 this afternoon. The one that we do have here, parts of Allendale County, that's until, let's see there, that was the banner. What time is it? Oh, 4:15. 4:15 right there. So that one will continue, most likely pushing to the northeast. So we'll need to watch that one to see whether or not it will cross over toward Benburg County, and that causes some more concern a little closer to our viewing area. Yes, we do have viewers who can see us in Barnwell, Benburg counties, but we've got to watch out for some of these areas here. Wouldn't be surprised if some of these, like that looks a little interesting. That's definitely interesting. We'll need to watch some of those as they continue pushing to the northeast a bit closer to Orangeburg County. And then also what we're seeing from the southwest of us with all this instability. But what we're going to do, maybe you could talk about some of the other areas seeing some heavy rain in the area right now.
Absolutely. Some areas have seen heavy rain. And what I'll try to do here is switch us over so that we can have an opportunity to see how much rain has fallen in some of these areas, because that's always a good indicator. So as we look at our 24-hour rain totals, the numbers aren't on here, but I'm going to populate some numbers for you so that you can see how much rain has fallen. And when we were in the noon show, I think Saluda County was almost at an inch of rain, and now Saluda County is almost at an inch and a half. And so there are some areas at about the 1 inch mark. Into Newberry County, over an inch of rain has fallen there. And a lot of this came down within an hour to an hour and a half. And that's a short time to get an inch of rain. So that means you're looking for areas for that rain to run off to. That's why you have that localized ponding sometimes. Sometimes you'll just get like a little deep area in the road, and it'll just take on a little bit of water. That usually just says, hey, I need more time for this water to run off. So you definitely want to take it slowly as you drive today. A couple of areas in Lexington County have seen over an inch of rain, probably about an inch and a third. And we have an area on the southern half of Lexington County that has seen over 2 inches, almost 2.5 for you there in some of those communities. As I zoom in, and we can get you a little bit closer on some of these numbers here. But some of those areas near Pillion, between Pillion and Swansea, about 2.5 inches for you. Near Gaston, near Eastover, almost 3 inches of rain has fallen for you. And I mean, that's one of the reasons that they did put in that flash flood warning, because the rain was coming down so incredibly fast. Areas in Batesburg, Leesville, just south of you, you have about about 1 inch and a ninth, so almost 2 inches for you south of Batesburg, Leesville, about 1.5 inches for us in the northern portions of Lexington County. So all of these areas seeing big numbers as we take on rain that's only been falling for about 1.5 hours to 2 hours in some of these spots. So we keep populating some of these numbers near Fort Jackson.
Trees, flying debris, and anywhere near windows, obviously that could be penetrated by flying debris as well. So very dangerous. Definitely stay away from windows and stay in that interior part of your home.
And Riley, I don't know if you want to just switch that to correlation really quick too.
Okay.
I want to see how our screen is doing that. It doesn't look
And
quite
I mean,
as good
could,
as, if you want to, guys, if you want to come over here at the Weather Center really quick, I don't want to cut Riley off, but we do have that more classic look on the high-res radar versus what we've been showing you with our regular computer. And we have just noticed more and more of this blue shading. Now, I think most of that is still some of that dust that's getting picked up, but we still are going to be watching because we have a little point right here. That point is the exact same point as right here. These 2 points are the same position. We're just doing 2 different types of images on top of it. We have our rotation coming down here, our inflow going into the thunderstorm, and if there is a tornado in this system, it would be located right here. And we just got the latest frame in there too, Riley, and that is pushed this further off to the east, and it started to fall apart a little bit more. I'll switch this back over to velocity.
It did not look as impressive with that later scan, and it looks broad.
So some good news to talk about, guys.
Yeah, and it does look like a fairly broad rotation, or at least on my radar, it looks a little different on that high res, but on our radar, we are seeing some pretty intense velocity values, but it's just not that necessarily classic look. But I mean, you definitely see the hook on the radar, very intense.
Absolutely. We're talking about this one, but Riley, if zoom out a little bit, and we're talking about all of those storms off to our west near Macon, that general area. So we have another round of storms to get through.
And you can just see all these. And
I mean,
these radar signatures are looking impressive too. So.
Yeah, just to the south of Warner Robins, there is a good rotation signature there as well. They actually just extended that tornado warning. Now it's getting pretty close to our western counties. So that is going to get moving in our direction a little bit.
More rotation up here.
And that line is going to continue to develop, guys, as we go through the rest of this evening. Again, that tornado watch that they just issued goes in all the way until 9 o'clock this evening. So we still have a good chunk of time where we could have more storms develop, more tornado warnings issued is definitely going to be a possibility. We are still keeping an eye on that one. Now just to the west of downtown Allendale. So Allendale, if you're in downtown Allendale, maybe if you're just the south in Fairfax, still get into your safe spot there. The heaviest of the rain, and now Riley, that actually looks more like a hail signature on that too. So definitely seeing that. Lots of rotation with this. Still having that classic hook echo. Now it's fallen apart a little bit more, but we're still seeing some very heavy rainfall. And I'll switch this over to correlation, see if we could see some of that hail threat. And yeah, now we're starting to see a little bit of hail in this general area, and that matches right around this area as well. So still watching the potential for some other impacts other than just a tornado there. Riley, guys, let's go back to Riley at the wall. I think his view looks a little bit better than mine. Yeah,
you can really see this, and we actually did just get an update with this tornado warning. So this just came out from the National Weather Service. They did eliminate Screven County from this tornado warning, so now it just includes Allendale County. But what we were just looking at is that you can see this white to pinkish color on radar. That's very intense reflectivity values that likely is a sign of some large hail being picked up by the radar. So that hail threat definitely being found. And unfortunately, that's kind of right off Main Street there, right along 301, Allendale all the way towards Burton's Ferry Landing. Some very intense rainfall covering the highway, and also that tornadic threat. We've continued to monitor these velocity signatures, so still seeing a lot of rotation with this and pretty intense winds. And just our radar algorithm is picking up on that rotation. So you can really see the bright pinks, bright greens next to each other. That's where the radar is just showing that couplet, that area of rotation inside that thunderstorm. And very impressive still, very high values where we're likely seeing some very strong wind gusts. Even if maybe there's not necessarily a tornado on the ground, still could be producing severe weather. You got something, Anthony? Or nope. So we're continuing to monitor correlation coefficient. This is looking at different objects aloft in the atmosphere. Wherever we're looking at the reddish color, that's just a sign of plain old rain, and the radar's just kind of looking at everything that looks very similar to one another. Now, when we start to change up these colors, that's where we start to see different shaped objects in the sky. So that yellow-greenish color possibly is some large hailstones that the radar is picking up. And if we did see maybe a clear circle of the dark blue and grayish colors, that could be an indication of debris. At the moment, we don't see that signature on radar, but still some very impressive velocity signatures. So keep in mind that this is definitely a threat for us. And actually, that latest one, Anthony, that looks pretty impressive there. So it is continuing. It's definitely not necessarily showing signs of weakening rapidly, but could actually be intensifying possibly a little bit.
Riley, if I could just take over real quick again here.
Go for it.
I want to bring up, let me clear this out of the way again too, but whatever reason, our high res is really picking up on that rotation in general with this system. I'll clear the edits out of the way. Just take a look at that. The radar is not too far away. I'll zoom this out a little bit.
Wow, that is the most classic supercell I've ever seen.
And I'm honestly surprised we're not seeing more of a debris signature, which here.
It does look like the latest scans.
The scans, I mean, one of the reasons why this looks so good on high res is because it is so close to the Charleston radar. The closer you get to the radar, the better the image essentially looks. As it gets farther away, it gets a little bit fuzzy. So it does look as good as it does because it is so close. But if you're in downtown Allendale, you need to be in your safe spot right now.
You need
definitely
to get
seeing a lot of rotation. The whole system, like Riley mentioned, very, very broad. Where we get that more defined rotation, that's where we start to see that signature of an actual tornado on the ground. I'll switch this over to our velocity, and yeah, you can definitely see that. Riley, we're getting some good gate-to-gate shear there as well.
And I will say this, Anthony, we actually
go ahead.
There was a report of a funnel cloud near Millhaven in Screven County with this cell. So the fact that there was a funnel cloud reported earlier and the signatures we're looking at right now, definitely a sign. So going back to if you can pop me up on the green screen real quick, guys. So this is the area of concern. It is heading towards downtown Allendale. Seedlings, Moore's Crossroads, your three are going to be next in line. So if any of these towns,
and
if you
Riley,
live
I'm
near
sorry, I don't want to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
Switch it over to the correlation coefficient.
There's
a tornado on the ground. If you're in downtown Allendale, you need to be in your safe spot right now. This is going to be moving right by, just to the south of downtown Allendale. So we have a confirmed tornado on the ground right now. You need to be in your safe spot. This is right between Allendale and Fairfax. If you live in between either of those towns, you need to be in your spot right now. Make sure you're in the most center portion of your home. We're going to zoom this in a little bit more. Riley, if you want to kind of track this out for me too.
If
your system does a little bit better job than mine.
If y'all want to go back to the main green screen, I'll take away the storm track just to eliminate that. But here's a zoomed in view of Allendale. So once again, if you live anywhere near downtown Allendale, if you live on the north side of town, south side, east side, west side, anywhere within, say, a 5-mile radius of Allendale, this is a tornado on the ground and it's moving northeast at about 30 miles per hour. So you do not have much time. Anywhere between Appleton and Allendale, you need to get to that lowest level. Put as many walls between you and the outside of your home as you can. Never want to be next to windows. Put on tennis shoes. If you have a bike helmet, put that on. You want to make sure you do protect your head. But this is a very impressive signature on radar. And what we were just looking at, as Anthony was showing, is our correlation coefficient. So this is actually a debris signature right here. This is actually debris being lofted into the atmosphere, and that radar is picking up on it. So this is approaching Moore's Crossroads. Allendale, you're going to be next to Appleton. This is right off Main Street, about to cross over 301. And very impressive signatures. We did have a report of a funnel cloud earlier with this cell over Screven County. Once it crossed over the Savannah River, the latest scans that came through with this were very impressive. And it does look like that latest scan that came in. There you go. You can really see it with the high resolution radar.
I just want to throw that side by side up for you.
My goodness.
It is very impressive there.
Yeah,
you can definitely see. I'll switch it back to the regular radar so we can get some towns to pop up.
Absolutely.
But, yeah, look at, and there's a lot of hail with this as well.
And actually, Anthony, I mean, if that's a tornado on the ground, you think that those high reflectivity values may just be debris.
That's also
being lifted up into the sky. And that is, oh my goodness, folks, this is not what we want to look at on radar. This looks devastating, possibly. Very clear debris signature there. That is, this is 301, that road you're looking at here, downtown Allendale. You have Moore's Crossroads right here, just on the southwest side of downtown Allendale. And this eventual path is moving off towards the north and east. We'll put this little storm track on, and this should pop up our little town. So this is our current debris signature. And uh-oh, may not be in play mode for me, Anthony.
Oh, yeah, let me, I'll switch that back over. Sorry about that.
But this is a tornado warning, folks, for Allendale County that will stay in effect. And look, another observed tornado warning about to cross over I-16. So that will be next in line for our southwestern counties. Keep in mind, folks, our severe weather threat is just really now beginning. This was the initial warm front that set off these cells. This is going to be the main wave of thunderstorms that move through later this evening and tonight that will bring the risk for tornadoes, strong wind gusts. And we just got another update with that tornado warning.
That is confirmed. Tornado on the ground there. They do have that upgraded.
So you heard it here first, folks. We were looking at this scan after scan, and we called it. This is definitely a confirmed tornado on the ground. Thank you, Anthony.
Yep, sorry, I'm taking over for you.
Yeah, you're good. So this does include downtown Allendale, where we're seeing those really bright reflectivity values. That could actually be where debris is lifted up into the sky and giving the false notion that this is very heavy rain. But
Riley, I just want to read off the Weather Service really quick.
Yeah, go for it.
Confirmed large and destructive tornado is located over Allendale, moving northeast at 30 miles per hour. That's not me making up words. That is right from the National Weather Service. So they are saying this is moving about 30 miles per hour off into the northeast. So right through downtown Allendale. You need to be in your safe spot at this second. You need to get there right now. Make sure you're going into the most interior portion of your home as possible. So there you go. Moore's Crossroads, 405 Allendale in the next couple of minutes. And Riley, I'm going to update that track for you as well. Looks like we do have, if they had clipped that tornado warning, we'll go back to that as well. So they did just clip that.
Oh, but we got a new tornado warning for Hancock County. We'll take, this is the most concerning threat at the moment. This is a tornado that has been confirmed on the ground. You can see the highlighted polygon has changed to a purple color. That means there is an observed tornado and a classic signature on velocity. So next in line is going to be downtown Allendale, then Sycamore, Ulmer, anywhere on the north side of Allendale. You're going to be next in line for this cell moving on through. We actually did just get a new tornado warning issued for the western CS area, so we'll back this up real quick. So this is a Doppler indicated warning that does include Hancock County, western Hancock County. Does not include Sparta at the moment, but that storm is going to be moving quickly. So we are anticipating the threat for severe weather to continue across our western counties next. And that purple one you're looking at there, just crossing over I-16, that is going to be a cell that gets very close to Washington County within the next hour. Let's take a closer look at the cell that is currently warned in Allendale County. So once again, we do have an active tornado warning. This does include Allendale County, and they just extended this actually into Bamberg County next. So this cell is tornado warned and confirmation that it is on the ground. We've been watching this for about the last 45 minutes across the area. Come on, computer. We'll try to get you an updated look at this latest warning. Hold on just one second, folks. So this latest warning was just extended into Bamberg County. So this does include Earhart. I'm going to be next in line with this, and we'll put this quickly in motion here, just the last kind of hour to get you an idea of kind of the general motion of it. So you can see next in line, Allendale, you are getting hit by this and producing at least some very heavy rain, and that tornado threat is going to be found there as well. And then as it continues off towards the north and east, next in line is going to be Ulmer, Earhart, and wow, we are really seeing a pretty clear signature on our high resolution radar. So there you go, folks. You can really see it.
Guys, if you want to, Riley, use that.
Yeah, go ahead, Anthony.
So, like we were talking about, a destructive tornado on the ground in Allendale, moving right through. That is the most classic hook echo I've ever seen since I started working here at Channel 12. And this is going to continue to move off into the northeast. So Sycamore, Ulmer, you guys are going to be up next. You also are seeing some very heavy rainfall, as well as some probably large hail. We're seeing some white signatures on the high-res radar, and that doesn't happen all that often. I'll switch this over to our correlation coefficient.
Anthony, we did get confirmation of a tornado that was reported by a call came in to the Allendale County 911 Center. It was relayed to a firefighter. It was near the intersection of U.S. Highway 301 and Revolutionary Trail. They did not have a damage report available at the time, but we do have confirmation that we saw the TDS, and that tornadic debris signature is right over downtown
That is a
Allendale.
very large signature on radar too. And what's actually happening here a little bit more, any damage that is getting picked up by this tornado, not only you have the tornado here, but now all of that damage gets picked up into the atmosphere, and it actually is getting tossed farther up to the northeast. So where we have all of these places, the image updated on me again there, also showing now that that tornado is moving just to going right along, I believe it's Route 301.
I got a zoomed-in view of it here.
Yeah, if you guys want to take Riley, there you go.
This is the most classic textbook debris signature you can get on radar, folks, right over downtown Allendale. This is devastating. This is moving northeast. It's about to cross over on the east side of town, continue along 301, Burton's Ferry Highway, Sycamore. You could possibly be impacted next in line. So it is going to be moving northeast at about 30 miles per hour. In Bamberg County, you are going to be next. If you live in Earhart, you need to prepare for this storm to impact you. Where you're seeing this basically donut hole right here, that is where there is debris aloft in the sky. We're talking shingles, bricks, plywood, pieces of cars, everything out there is being lifted up into the sky from this tornado. A very clear signature. This is something you need to take very seriously. If you live anywhere near Allendale, especially if you now live on the east side of Allendale towards Sycamore, there's a tornado on the ground heading your way. You need to get to the lowest level of your home, put as many walls between you and the outside of your home as you can. Never be next to windows, never want to go upstairs, never want to be in the garage. You want to be as safe as you can be. If you have a basement, that's ideal. If you live in a trailer or a mobile home, a building that lacks a sturdy foundation, you are not safe in this situation. You need to find a plan B. You need to get to somewhere safe that has a sturdy foundation that can keep you safe in a storm like this, because we do not see these all too often. But this is a very strong tornado, and this is creating devastation in Allendale County.
And Riley, I don't know if you've mentioned this already. I know we're talking about what the Weather Service has used in their wording, a destructive tornado on the ground, but me clicking around on some of the polygons here, that has been upgraded into a tornado emergency.
Wow.
So that is a destructive tornado, just like what they mentioned. That is going to continue to move off to the northeast. So like you said, Sycamore, Ulmer, this is moving right in your direction. You need to make sure that you guys are getting into your safe spot along Highway 301, Burton's Ferry Highway. Was that Route 641 as well through Sycamore and Highway 321.
Yep. South Carolina 641. We got Highway 321, also 301. So that Burton Ferry Highway. This is the wide view, folks. This is our tornado where you're seeing that that basically bluish grayish hole right over at downtown Allendale. That is where there is a tornado on the ground causing damage. This is moving off towards the north and east. So next in line are these cities that you see right here: Ulmer, Sycamore, Hayes Crossroads. Anywhere along that 301 route north and west of downtown Allendale, you are going to be next in line. Sycamore, you're also included in that, and then it will just continue into Bamberg County next. So one of the things, the concerning part with storms for today, and that we're calling for, is that they're going to be persistent. They're going to stay on the ground for a good long track of time. So now that this storm has formed, is producing a rotation and a cell like this, it could stay on the ground a while, folks. So make sure if you are anywhere between Ulmer and Sycamore, you are staying in your safe place, staying as low as possible. You can watch us on your phone, so you can stream us through our app or on Facebook. So say if you need to step away from the television and you can't hear us, you can watch us on your cell phone. We are streaming live on Facebook and through our app. So keep in mind, maybe you're not underneath the tornado warning, but you could be later into the day. Always know that you can stream us live on our app.
Riley, I'm gonna take over your show really quick. I want to pull up.
It looks like they did just clip that tornado warning again.
Okay,
so
good.
Latest scan, and you can see, oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's the high res. I put that on motion for you.
Oh man.
Really can see how that has been moving from the southwest and to the northeast. So really threading the needle between downtown Allendale, going through just to the north, I don't want to say north, but right through Sycamore.
Sycamore and Ulmer, yeah.
And Ulmer, threading the needle right there as well.
And
Make
you can
sure you're
see
in your
next
safe
in
spot.
line, right there next in line is going to be portions of Bamberg County. So anywhere between Oler and Earhart, that's going to be where this storm moves next. And you can see the last couple scans do continue to show that debris signature signature. We had reports of a funnel cloud as it moved just over the Savannah River near Screven County. We had that confirmation of a tornado once it got close to downtown Allendale, and now we're still continuing to track a tornado that is on the ground. So keep in mind, folks, this threat is not ended for us. We are still tracking a very strong thunderstorm that is producing tornadic damage. And keep in mind, we also have another tornado warning in effect for western Hancock County. This is going to be our next wave that continues to move our way and brings us the risk for tornadoes. So the tornado watch continues all the way until 9 p.m. We are not done with our severe weather threat yet by any means. These are going to be our next storms moving in. We are seeing some rain, moderate to heavy in some places ahead of this line, so hopefully this would limit our severe weather threat, but it hasn't done this with the discrete cells forming ahead of the main line. So this is still a very concerning storm that we are going to have to watch very closely. Highlighted in pink here is where that tornado emergency does extend into Bamberg County next. So just seeing this in motion, you can see how the cell's gradually going to be moving off towards the north and east at about 30 miles per hour.
And one of the things, Riley, as it moves from Allendale County into Bamberg County, that crosses into the National Weather Service in Columbia. So they're also picking up on that. They don't quite have it classified as a tornado emergency on the radar polygons just yet, but definitely still continuing the language of a destructive tornado on the ground. So they're going to keep that going into Bamberg County as well.
Absolutely, and they definitely should. I mean, you can see that this storm is not slowing down by any means. So just kind of keeping this wide view of showing you places next in line. So Sycamore, Ulmer, also portions of Earhart and Oler and Earhart in southern Bamberg County. This is going to be our cell, so that rotation is now starting to move this way, so this is going to be next in line. So if any of these places sound familiar to you, if you live close to them, you are included in this tornado emergency. That includes, once again, Sycamore, Earhart, Clear Pond, Midway, and just a rough kind of time estimate of when this storm, at least the worst of this storm, is expected to move into your region. So this is going to continue until 4:30, I believe, is when this warning does be allowed to expire in Allendale County, but keep in mind they did extend it into Bamberg County next. And these are all Doppler indicated in our western counties. Correct, Anthony? I don't think any of those are confirmed.
Not quite yet, no. But
Yeah.
I mean, you can look at over the last, guys, if you look at between Macon and Perry over the last several frames, you can really see all of that. And I'm actually kind of worried that the radar in Macon's going to get knocked offline there.
That is taking almost a direct hit right there. So we'll zoom into Macon real quick. So these are our next line of intense thunderstorms that are going to be approaching our southwestern counties. So get ready, places like Hancock, Washington, Johnson County. This is a zoomed in view near the Macon radar near Jeffersonville of a tornadic warned cell. So this is going to be heading towards Washington County next. Keep in mind that one active tornado that we have on the ground is between Allendale and Earhart, so between Allendale, Bamberg County. Downtown Bamberg, you are not included in this warning. You are just outside of that warning polygon. But this is a confirmed tornado. We did have a very clear debris signature on radar that we are tracking with this just a few minutes ago, and you can still see that there. We'll kind of move around our radar real quick, and this will just kind of give us a better view.
Some good news, Riley. I think it is starting to fall apart a little bit.
Yeah.
It's not quite as what we saw earlier as far as that definite, there's a blue ball on the screen.
Right.
It's still there. You see it a little bit. All that debris is still there.
Definitely not as clear as what it was earlier.
Yeah, that picture, that dot on the screen is starting to fall apart a little bit. So that's good news.
Look at those velocity. Oh, my goodness.
And what's actually happening there, guys, if you want to take me at the Weather Center, so what happens in certain situations is the values can actually kind of trick the radar itself, and you have to apply a different piece of technology there so it doesn't actually glitch out. So Riley was just talking about this area here. The winds there are actually so high it was glitching our radar system. This is the high res, and you still have that rotation. Now it just crossed over that highway by Sycamore, and this is going to continue to move off to the northeast. So some very high winds just to the southeast of Sycamore. We have that rotation, that tornado. It looks like they've trimmed that a little bit more as well, Riley.
That is a new warning for
Baldwin
and Hancock Hancock County.
Okay, so they're also keeping an eye on that as well. Guys, let's go back over to Max 1 at the green screen, and I'll switch this around a little bit so everybody can see. So we'll go right to that warning. There you can see it's been clipped for portions of Hancock County, and we are going to go, I'll zoom this back out a little bit more. Definitely for people in Allendale, make sure you're still in your safe spot there, but we still have a lot of severe weather to get through. If you take a look from Eatonton all the way down through past Macon, all of that is going to be moving in our direction. We'll zoom in a little bit more, getting closer right around Hancock County there. It looks like the most of that rotation is still, and you know, Riley, there starts to be almost looking
Maybe
at
a
a debris signature there as well. So,
They did include the Meriwether community in that
yep.
warning text, so just keep in mind. Some places included in that Hancock County tornado warning are places like Milledgeville, Meriwether, Devereaux. You're kind of right there on the fringe, but this is going to be another rotating cell that brings the risk for tornadoes with it. And so now these second wave of storms are now approaching our western counties. So now that this first wave is moving out of Allendale and Bamberg County, we're going to have to monitor these next wave of storms moving in. It looks like they just had a new tornado warning for Twiggs and Wilkinson County just outside the viewing area. Another report coming in of a tornado in Allendale County. Allendale County 911 Center reported roofs blown off structures in Allendale. That is not the news we were hoping for, but that is news that we knew was going to most likely be a concern. That was a significant tornadic debris signature on radar over Allendale, and we are now getting reports that entire roofs are missing off of homes. So this is something you need to take very seriously, folks. We do not have active weather days like this all too often, but anywhere near Sycamore, anywhere near Allendale heading towards Bamberg County, you are going to be next in line. You can see another confirmed tornado just near Macon. That's going to be heading towards Washington County and Johnson County next. So this is our next wave of storms. But keep in mind, we just had that confirmation that we did have a tornado confirmed in Allendale that actually did cause significant damage to structures. So we actually did have confirmation that this cell in Allendale County did knock the roof off of a home, and we're looking at roofs actually missing from this, completely missing near Allendale with this cell. Can you zoom in for this for me real quick, Anthony?
Yep.
So over Allendale, this is now moving east of you, but still a pretty clear signature on radar.
oh, Riley, just let go of the button real quick.
Yeah, I'm not, maybe glitching out a little bit.
Here, maybe just step off the screen real quick, and I'll
But
get
you
this
can
back
see
on
that
track.
we still have that tornado emergency in effect for eastern Allendale County that's about to cross over into Bamberg County next. So this is the cell that was causing significant roof
And Riley,
damage.
it looks like they dropped the tornado emergency, but they're still going with a confirmed tornado on the ground. So Sycamore, yeah, you still need to be in your safe spot there. Again, Allendale County is the far northern end of the watch area for Charleston. So this is going to be moving into the Columbia Forecasting Office. So that's why that warning doesn't completely move over the county line there. And the Weather Service out of Columbia will be picking this up as it continues to move to the east.
And one thing, this latest scan on correlation coefficient doesn't show the debris signature like we had earlier, which is positive news, but still seeing very clear rotation with this storm. And sometimes when we see these supercells, they can kind of cycle a little bit. They can produce a tornado, then it lifts back up, and then it drops back down. So we could be seeing this process play out in Allendale and Bamberg County, to where currently speaking that tornado may have lifted a little bit, but it could drop again in any second. So they are continuing that tornadic risk into Bamberg County. But currently looking at Sycamore, Ulmer to be impacted by this system right now, and then quickly moving off towards the northeast at about 30 miles per hour. And we are going to try to move the radar downstream just a little bit, so you can see some pretty intense rainfall now showing up along South Carolina Route 64, that lightning picking up as well. So that is the concern. You don't want to try to step outside and maybe get a picture or look at this tornado. Likely going to be rain wrapped, especially if you are kind of on the east side of that storm. You're not going to be able to see anything. This is blinding rainfall and also lightning outside. So a number of different threats on the board alongside with that tornadic threat as well.
And Riley, I want to just take a second and go up to our northwestern counties, Hancock County. You're starting to see some more rotation in there as well. We still just have a regular tornado warning, nothing tagged on that just yet, but that rotation is starting to tighten up as well. And you're really starting to see a little bit more of that ball-like signature
Yeah,
there
you can
too.
really
You can
kind of
see that
the
little bit
hook.
there.
Here, we'll zoom into this one real quick. So this is a Doppler indicated warning, but as Anthony was just mentioning, that we are seeing a fairly tight rotation with this, and you can kind of see this couplet forming on velocity signature as well. So red going away from the radar, green going towards the radar. Wherever we're seeing those bright colors next to each other, that's where there is that couplet. So that's where we're seeing rotation, and this is moving into Hancock County, just outside of Devereaux. Sparta, you're not included in that warning at the moment. So this is on the far western side of the county, closer towards Lake Oconee, Lake St. Clair. Those areas will be impacted. I know we have a lot of visitors in town that may be visiting Lake Oconee. A lot of golfers head out there. So keep in mind, those areas are impacted right now currently from this Doppler indicated tornado warning. Yes.
And
Yep.
Riley, so I'm looking at the high res right now too, and we are getting NROT values closer to 1.5 in that area. Yeah, so as you can see right there, so
Yeah.
definitely looking to get a little bit more organized. I'll switch this over to correlation, and
And you can
it's
zoom
hard
that
because
in a
it's.
little bit, Anthony.
Sorry, say that again.
Yeah, just zoom that
out?
in a little bit. Zoom it in.
Oh,
see
zoom
if we
in, I'm
can
sorry.
see if we can just see one or two
You know,
more towns.
that right
pop up.
there, I wouldn't be surprised if that was a debris signature on the ground. It's a little bit harder this time around because look how much further away it is from the radar station in
Right.
Macon. So it's a further distance.
Yep.
It's scanning higher into the atmosphere.
Then say
so
this one down here.
Correct. Yeah, down there where that's little blue text, that's where we're seeing it. Riley, I'll switch your screen back over to regular radar. We'll zoom this out a little bit again,
There you go.
just to get this back on track for you. But yeah, guys, look at that
Yeah.
rotation
And
in
can
that
we go
entire
back
system.
to go
Allendale?
back to the go back to the Allendale run real quick. We'll get an update on that one because that is the one tornado warning we do have currently. That is a tornado emergency where you see highlighted in pink there. So this is still producing some significant rotation. We did have a report of roofs being blown off of homes in Allendale. This had a very clear debris signature with it earlier. We did see some improvement on radar, but this could really drop a tornado at any time, folks. So you need to treat this as if there's still a tornado on the ground. Next in line is going to be places like Earhart and on the north and in the northern and eastern portions of Bamberg County. So this, we'll draw this little storm motion right here. Hopefully this will work for me. So we'll extend this out. And this is just going to give you kind of a rough idea of some of the towns in this pass. So Hughes, Clear Pond, Embry, Earhart, we were just mentioning you as well. This storm system is moving northeast through Bamberg County next, and this was producing damage in Allendale County. So take this very seriously. Make sure you're getting to that lowest level of your home. Put on tennis shoes. Put on a bike helmet if you have that. Entire roofs are missing off of structures in Allendale County from this cell. So this is something we're going to see some not pleasant pictures and videos out from as we head out there tomorrow. So
And Riley, I did
significant weather.
just update that algorithm so it will match a little bit better for
Okay.
that speed of what it's moving at.
perfect.
So,
There you go.
Earhart probably looking closer to about 4:30 or so. Branchville getting to about 4:53.
And
That
there's your
general time
right
frame.
now. Yep, and time right now is 4:20 on the dot. So you have roughly about 20-30 minutes if you're in Branchville, only about 30 minutes there in Embry, and only about 10 minutes if you're in Earhart. So this system is moving at a good pace at about 30-35 miles per hour. So it's not going to take long for this cell to reach you. And if we wind this out just one more time, you can see this is not, unfortunately, the only warning we are dealing with. We'll show you kind of all the different warnings that we are currently tracking across the area. And unfortunately, we do have a number of them. Uh-oh. Let's see if we can try this one more time. There we go. So we do have that tornado emergency in effect for Bamberg County. That is going to continue over the next 30-45 minutes. We have this newest tornado warning in Hancock County. This does not include Sparta. And then another observed tornado that's getting very close to the Washington and Johnson County border. In Johnson County, you actually are underneath a severe thunderstorm warning for a very small slither of it. So that's going to be our next line of storms moving in. And you can just see, luckily, that tornado threat is hopefully will go down for us, but it's not looking likely. We do have a tornado watch that will stay in effect for the rest of this evening until 9 p.m. Here, I'm going to step off as it gets
Yeah, Riley, I was
squirrely
just
on you.
going to pan this down a little bit more. You can really just see still the active warnings that are just going to be moving into those western counties there. Several of those warnings are observed. I don't want to take attention away from Allendale County going into Bamberg County. You guys still have a pretty significant a cell that we're watching there. So far, Riley, I haven't seen anything about the one in Hancock County at least being observed yet. So that's some good news from the Weather Service.
Yeah, one thing with these polygons, so that white outline is showing you that it's an observed tornado. If it's just red like the one in Hancock County, that would be Doppler indicated. And then for the one in Bamberg County, that is pink because it's a tornado emergency. So that actually means confirmed tornado causing significant damage to property and loss to life as well. One thing, we've been constantly covering the tornadic risk with storms, as we should, but there's also going to be a wind threat with thunderstorms. So even if maybe a thunderstorm is tornado warned, it may not be producing a tornado, could still be producing winds in excess of 60 and 70 miles per hour, definitely enough to cause significant damage. Looks like we just got a new warning that may have been updated. We'll bump this, see if it takes us to a different warning that was issued. Oh, it's bugging me. Okay, so they just extended a severe thunderstorm warning, and they'll likely include in that text that a thunderstorm is possible. A lot of times they will do that with severe thunderstorms, that they're seeing some rotation, but may just not have enough confidence to issue a tornado warning. But that did just extend into Washington and Johnson County. So that includes places like Sandersville. And then this warning extends now into Orangeburg County. So Orangeburg County is going to be next once this moves out of Bamberg County. And one thing with this, Anthony, they actually did continue the tornado emergency.
Yeah, and
with
that's
that
just
Orangeburg.
the difference in opinion between the Weather Service in Columbia and the Weather Service in Charleston. So Charleston, they're not quite thinking it's onto that scale just yet, but the Weather Service in Columbia, they're keeping it as a significant event there too.
Can you loop this one time for me,
can.
Anthony?
Yes.
Just to kind of show you the general motion of these storms. So they're swinging through with an upper level trough. They're basically kind of moving from the southwest towards the northeast. This one cell in Allendale County is moving at about 30, 35 miles per hour, but these storms moving out to our western counties at a much faster pace. They're actually at a pace around 50 miles per hour, so a little bit quicker moving storms. And keep that in mind. If you are watching a storm, say west and south of you, that storm could approach you very quickly. And we're already seeing kind of more of these discrete cells form ahead of that main line. That's going to be a concern, especially as they start lifting into areas that have already been hit. So next in line with this severe thunderstorm warning is going to be Bullitt County, Jenkins, Screven, crossing the Savannah River into some of our eastern counties again. So a number of different current hazards that we are monitoring on radar. We'll take a closer look. The one warning that I think deserves the most attention is the one that we have had confirmation that has caused significant damage in Allendale County. So that does include Bamberg County next. You're going to be the next place in line for this cell to produce damage. So anywhere in Branchville and Orangeburg County to Earhart, that's where this tornado emergency is still in effect and will stay in place at least for the next 30 to 45 minutes. They actually did just update this. We'll go back to velocity, see if we can see some rotation, and very clear rotation signature with this still, folks. So they are continuing the tornadic emergency with this listing. So keep in mind, this is going to be a cell that is capable of producing significant damage.
And Riley, after you get done tracking that, I can draw that for you if you want.
Oh, it tried. It messed up. We'll get rid of that. But there you go, folks. This is kind of the classic signature you're looking for. And luckily on correlation coefficient, we're not seeing quite the debris signature that we had earlier, but still treat it as if there is a tornado on the ground.
Yeah, so this is right around the Earhart area. We'll zoom in a little bit more here to South Carolina Highway 64, right around the intersection near 601, right near Earhart. Still seeing the greatest rotation and maybe even some mild sorry, guys, I'm just looking at a new information here from the Weather Service. That was a little bit older. Okay. So as we continue on through looking at, that velocity, that is if there isn't a tornado there, there is
Intense
definitely winds that is going to be causing damage. So if you notice when I switched it over to correlation, there was still a little bit of blue on the screen. But if there is some damage there, that's likely not from a tornado, but those winds, and those are very strong winds.
That's an intense wind field with this. I mean, so as Anthony mentioned, maybe there's not necessarily a tornado on the ground, but these winds can cause just as much damage, and these velocity values we're looking at are definitely in excess of 60 miles per hour. So very steady winds that can cause damage anywhere in the path along 601 here. So this is South Carolina Route 601 between Hughes and Earhart. This storm is now approaching you and likely starting to notice those winds pick up. But you need to make sure you are in your safe place, that lowest level of your home, the most interior part of your home, away from windows and outside walls. Also put on your tennis shoes, a bike helmet if you have one. Head injuries is where you're going to be most vulnerable with storm damage, so always protect the head. But this pace of this storm is northeast at about 30 miles per hour. And this is the same cell that was producing significant damage in Allendale County. So next in line is going to be Bamberg, and then we are going to move that into Orangeburg County next. Okay, actually just getting a report now, folks, that we do have some possible video, and we could definitely air that if we have video here. So this is coming in from one of our viewers. This is Mitch West. He is a storm spotter in South Carolina. So this is in Allendale County, what you're looking at here from Twitter.
Oh,
and
wow.
oh man, so you can kind of see it there in the distance. So that's where that tornado was forming in Allendale. And if you are just tuning in with us, folks, we did unfortunately get reports of significant damage to homes in Allendale, especially downtown Allendale, to where entire roofs are missing off of structures. So significant stuff. And as we mentioned earlier, you don't want to necessarily try to go outside and get a picture or video of these cells because they could be completely rain wrapped. As we just saw with that video, it's very tough to make out exactly where that tornado was. So it can be very dangerous. We do not live in the plains. We do not have wide open landscapes to where you can see these storms miles away. They can sneak up on you, especially with our changing elevation, a number of trees in the area. So don't try to get pictures or video of these storms. They can be very deadly and they can show up without you knowing them. So always make sure you're in that lowest level of your home. And starting to see a little bit another rotation there, possibly. Our radar here picking up on that algorithm. So just continued threat of these rotating thunderstorms now moving through Allendale and Bam.
To all of the energy for these storms. There's a tornado watch just south of Greenwood toward Columbia, but there is no current watch in our area. But we do have the warning, which means take action. I want to emphasize, you see Greenwood on your screen, but Greenwood City, you are not included in this warning. Now, this is for areas around Kirksey, and you can see here where the rotation is. It's basically in this general area where you see the bright greens, and it looks messy sometimes, especially in these circumstances where we get these embedded rotations within a bunch of rain. It's not real clear cut, but it's enough where we're seeing winds that are going away from the radar and toward the radar, and that's creating some spin there. So anywhere from Callison to Kirksey, that's our biggest concern at this point, and it's going to continue to move quickly toward areas like Cambridge. Bob's doing a fresh storm track on it, and we'll take it even if it could make it all the way into potentially Chapels, might even make it to through Newberry County. So we want you in your safe place as all of this is moving in. Dyson, you're in the path of this storm, as well as Cambridge, but it's sitting right on top of you in Kirksey and Callison, and we'll be here listening for updates on any damage that could be produced from this storm. Right now, this is a radar-indicated tornado. This is not a situation where we've had one spotted, but I'll remind you, this is a volatile atmosphere. Newberry County, we've already had a confirmed report of a tornado. Someone who knows what they're looking at said there was a tornado on the ground in Newberry County, not too far from the airport near I-26. We did not have any reports of tornadoes in Greenwood, but we did have the rotation that was happening in the basically far eastern part of the county, closer to Chapels. So again, if you're in any of these areas around Kirksey and some of these smaller communities near Highway 25, I need you in your safe place now. Let's go over those tornado safety precautions. You want to get to the lowest floor of your home, away from windows, a hallway, a bathroom, or closet. That's a good place to be. Really, you know your house better than anybody else. You just need to get as many walls between you and the outside as you can. You want to protect your head. Sometimes it's good to get the kids in the bathroom, let them put their bike helmet on. It's just an extra measure of protection just in case. Abandoned mobile homes. This is not something that we like to tell people to have to leave their home, but it's not a safe place in a tornado. And there are going to be some mobile home parks in the path of this. So if you're in a mobile home, you need to get to a safer structure or get down into a ditch. Honestly, a ditch is safer than a mobile home. So you can see exactly where we have this warning on our first alert radar. It's not including Newberry County just yet, but it could later. And we can go back to radar in a second, but I just want to remind you, if you're looking at your screen, maybe you just joined us because your phone pinged and you realize there's a tornado warning. This does not include the city of Greenwood. This is for areas in the south or southeastern part of Greenwood County. Kirksey popping up, but let's zoom in a little bit closer and get in on the radar. And we can look at some more communities that are involved here. But again, this is going to be moving toward Chapels. So let's put the radar in still mode and then zoom in a little bit closer to what we're dealing with in this. And I can name off some highways where we need to be watching. This is, again, probably going to likely cross Highway 25, going over, seeing it's right there on, let's just leave it right here for a second. Actually, zoom in so that those cities pop up again. It's kind of finicky. The communities will pop up and then they'll disappear on us. But just so folks can see exactly where this is, Kirksey, the worst of the rotation, you can see the reds and the greens here clumped up. That is an indicator of that rotation in the storm. And this is not too far from Cambridge. That popped up too, just to give you perspective. But right here along 178, this is going to be crossing over you very soon. This is an area that some spots not too highly populated. So these are some smaller communities that may be impacted by this. Here we go. Now we're seeing some more of these communities like Epworth, Cambridge. If you know anyone that lives in some of these communities, give them a call. This is the time of day when folks can sometimes be disconnected. Maybe the kids are home playing video games or just distracted, not knowing what's going on. Give them a call if you're still at work and make sure that they're in their safe place. But this is just to the east of Callison. So Callison, stay in your safe place until the tornado warning is removed, but it looks like the rotation within the storm has shifted east of you and is now right over Kirksey in Greenwood County. So there's the rotation. It's going to be shifting over and heading towards spots like Cambridge. Again, there's Epworth, which is just to the north of that greatest threat. That's where you want to certainly be in your safe place at this very moment. 96, you're north of the threat at the moment, but you just really never know how these are going to move. I would be extra careful and be at least indoors and away from windows and be monitoring how this is going to move. Dyson, Chapels, Mudlick, Silver Street again. You could be dealing with a situation where you need to take shelter. That's not a done deal yet, though. We've not seen the tornado warning be extended, but I'll be interested to see what happens in the next sweep or scan there. But I know that Cody and Tori, I know you've got your mics on. When you get a chance, I know Cody checked in with Greenwood County, and there were no reports of damage, I believe, from the initial, but I know he's checking with some of his sources. So just pipe in anytime if you do get a report of any damage or we hear of anything that's been seen with this, because all that we can go on right now is our radar technology and what folks have seen. We don't want you getting out in this, though, but certain law enforcement, they're out anyway, and if they see something, they report it, and then we'll know and we can pass that along to you. But Bob is telestrating on here of this area of greatest concern, really anywhere around the city of Kirksey, town of Kirksey. We need to be in your safe place. Dyson, Chapels, Silver Street. But I emphasize to you, there are much, much smaller communities that are not being picked up on here by our storm track. There's no way to pick up on every single community. So you need to know where you are in relation to there. If you live south of 96, near 178, anywhere near the town of Kirksey and to the east, that's the area we're most concerned about a tornado developing at any moment. And then it takes the storm up toward Newberry County potentially. So that's what we have going on right now. In a minute, we'll take a look at the entire radar because I know there's some other pretty feisty storms moving through the upstate at the moment, but I want to make sure if you're just joining us that you know what's happening here. We have rotation that's being picked up near Kirksey in Greenwood County. This is south of the city of Greenwood, so I'm not concerned about city of Greenwood at the moment. This is south and east. And then the locations that are in the path of the storm include Dyson, Chapels, Silver Street, but those would be down the line. That would be once it gets into Newberry County. But there are some small areas that are in the eastern spots here of Greenwood County that could be affected. Let's do a closer zoom, Bob, when we get a chance, and we'll see some of those communities pop up so we can name off a few of those where you want to be taking shelter at this moment. And then in a minute, we'll review those tornado safety precautions. As policy here at Fox Carolina and the First Alert Weather Team, when we have a tornado warning, we stay with it. So I know if you're up in Greenville, Spartanburg, you're probably wondering what in the world's going on for you. We're sticking with this tornado warning for Greenwood, but we'll check in on your weather in just a second. Cambridge, Epworth, here's where we found the rotation. Anywhere in this general area is where we would be looking at the potential for the development of, and I believe that reads 246, but 178 for sure. This is going to be crossing right over you. And then eventually into the tip of Greenwood County. And it looks like we may have gotten a brand new sweep, still picking up on that rotation, Bob. It doesn't look like, it looks like it may be cycling a bit, but there's certainly still an indicator that a tornado could happen at any moment. So, Bob, review the tornado safety precautions, if you will, for folks that may just be joining us.
Sure, of course. You know, it's very important, obviously. Even if there's not a tornado on the ground, it could be Doppler radar indicated, we're not sure. But you want to get to the lowest floor of your dwelling, where you live. If it's a single level, seek an interior room away from windows. That's very important. It's also a good idea to wear sneakers, tennis shoes, or a helmet to stay away from debris in the event that we do get some debris, maybe broken glass. Let's hope that doesn't happen. But kids, if you're home alone and mom and dad are not around, make sure you seek an interior room and maybe find a heavier blanket. Maybe just hang out in the closet if you can, and wear your shoes and your helmet as well. Also, the hallway, the bathroom, and the closet are also very good locations if you have to take shelter from the tornado. Of course, if you have a one level.
This path of this storm track that I just labeled there. So this is continuing, about to cross over 601 next. And then it's going to be heading towards 362. So South Carolina routes 362. That is going to be next in line. If you're just now joining us, this cell actually was producing some damage. We were taking a look at some video out of Allendale County from that cell earlier that we did have confirmation. We were seeing power lines down in the middle of the roadway. We had reports of roofs being completely blown off of structures. So take this tornado emergency very seriously. It was causing significant damage earlier and still seeing very impressive reflectivity values and velocity values with this cell again. You got anything, Anthony?
I'm just double checking through the Weather Service to see if we have any updates. Right now we don't, but Riley, if you want to, as I say that, we get another little ding over here.
There we go. Here, I got it pulled up right here.
Okay.
See if this will pull up for us.
So they did trim that back. So now that's for portions of Hancock and Warren County. So something for them to keep an eye
on. As we take a look around Kirksey. And you can see here a little bit of the red and green coming together just north of Kirksey now, crossing over 178, and that's going to be pushing north at about 35 miles per hour. It's not too hard to pick out when you zoom out like this, because you can see that bright green there and a little bit of red too up against it. That's what we're watching. So anyone in these areas in southern Greenwood County, city of Greenwood, you are not included in this. But for some of our communities like Chapels, Silver Street, that's when if it gets into Newberry County, it's going to be an issue for you in these locations. But in some of our smaller communities in southern Greenwood County, Epworth, we're going to be watching this closely for you as it's pretty much sitting right on top of Kirksey. We can do a zoom here of that area because, again, we've got a lot of really small communities here. And if you know anyone that lives in any of these spots that might not be connected right now, know what's going on. Here's 96. This is south of you right now, but I want you in your safe place as well. 96 in Kirksey, really the worst of it kind of right in between you at this moment. Cambridge, also one of our smaller communities here where this is going to be moving in. And it could really catch you off guard. And it's funny, they pop up randomly like that, but now you can see them. Epworth, Cambridge, Eulala, these are all areas that are surrounding this tornado potential. If you looked outside, which again, I don't want you going outside, but chances are anyone that's driving is probably seeing the clouds rotating at this moment. We're seeing enough rotation on radar for me to think there's probably a wall cloud here. There may not be a tornado on the ground, but there could be at any minute. So I want you to be in your safe place, and we have that storm track going all the way into Newberry, even though we do not have a current tornado warning for Newberry County. We have a flood advisory right now that just came in for Union County, but no tornado warning yet for Newberry. And that may be the case. It may weaken enough where we don't have to deal with anything like that. But right now, right over Cambridge, just a brand new update here. Looks like right up along 246, the road that goes between Cambridge and 96. That's where we have the greatest likelihood for a tornado to develop. And Bob has some new information.
Yeah, and
for us.
Kendra, I noticed that the GSP National Weather Service, they're talking about the velocities, the rotation in Greenwood County, how it's more gate to gate, getting a little technical, but that tells us that the rotation is stronger. And as you mentioned, we very well could be looking at a tornado. The product you're looking at, we are looking at strong rotation there right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It was actually picking up a tornado vortex signature, which is one of the ways that our Doppler radar kind of tells us there's a chance we could see some of that. We could see a tornado actually making it to the ground. And we get a minute, we'll pop up the correlation coefficient and see if we're seeing much in the way of debris with this. There are ways that we can monitor these storms, and one of them is through debris detection. But I'm happy to say I don't see a whole lot here. If we may be able to back this up a little bit and see if maybe earlier there was any around Kirksey. But usually you look for something anomalous here in the debris detection, and we're seeing a few little splotches, but usually you're looking for something like bright yellow, bright blue, something very different from the red that we're looking at all across the screen. So not seeing any of that at the moment. But I know National Weather Service is watching debris detection as well. That's when we can confirm a tornado on the ground, if we can pick up on debris within the storm. Looks like we have a severe thunderstorm warning now that's been issued for Greenville County. So we're going to be getting up on that too. So Bob, let's head on back to regular radar. We'll take a tour because sounds like that line of storms that went through Clemson that was so strong is now barreling down into Greenville, and it's packing some strong wind with it. So let's get back to our reflectivity. Perfect. And we'll head up to that. We are not leaving you in Greenwood County. We're going to come back in just a second because it looks like we could be dealing with a tornado at any minute. But right in this line segment, we have some heavy rain, very strong wind, and it's really in particular this part of the line just south of Easley near Powdersville, north of Piedmont here. This is going to be sliding into Greenville, heading toward areas like Berea, just north of Piedmont, downtown Greenville, Malden, Taylors, the east side of Greenville, and Greer. So heavy rain, very strong wind as all of this pushes in, and there is the potential that we could see some rotation here too. The tornado threat, as we go farther north up toward the 85 corridor, we were down in Greenwood. It's less of a threat as we move here, but it doesn't mean zero. We've got a lot of dynamics at play, which means that a tornado could really happen at any moment. So this is going to be a nasty line of storms. So just be on the alert. It's 4:44, and a lot of people are about to head home from work, maybe going to pick the kids up from after school or from sports practice. Maybe sports practice was canceled today. So keep this in mind. Let's do a track on this segment, Bob, as it moves into Greenville and ultimately Greer, moving at about 35 to 40 miles per hour at last check. And we'll show you some of those communities. Then we're going to head back to Greenwood. So just want to make sure that we cover everybody here. Berea, Greenville, this is arrival time of around 4:52, 4:57. So the next 5 to 10 minutes, and these times are not hard and fast, but they're within a few minutes there. So it gives you an idea of when these are going to be arriving. And it would not surprise me to get a little wind damage out of this as this line is pushing through. It has that look to it, bowing out just slightly in this one area. And we'll be watching to see if any rotation were to develop in this area too, because with as much as we've got going on in the atmosphere, that's certainly possible. So let's take it down to Greenwood as we go. But right now, looks like as we track rotation, there's some broad rotation here. It's certainly a possibility that we could end up with a tornado warning. At this time, though, there is no tornado warning, and we'll be watching it as it moves through northern Anderson County. But this would be the part where we'd get that damaging wind. This broad area of strong wind, you can see the green here, could could even be a downburst as some of that line is moving through. So dangerous situation for northern Anderson County, all moving into Greenville County. Not a tornado warning, but it's still a dangerous thunderstorm nonetheless. So let's head back down to Greenwood and get a look at what it's doing down there at this point and how that rotation is panning out as well. So here is where the warning is. Ironically, the tornado watch was issued just south of this area. So Greenwood, you're not included in a tornado watch, but you've got a tornado warning. That's sometimes how things happen. You're right on the edge, and a storm was able to start rotating near Kirksey. Here's that tornado warning south of Greenwood. And where we were finding most of the rotation was near Cambridge, one of the smaller communities that's in Greenwood County. And it's going to continue to move toward Newberry County with time. So let's get a fresh look at the rotation, maybe turn that back on, and we'll see how that's been tightening up or if it has possibly gotten a little better. And it looks like it's now right here in the corner of Greenwood County. I'm going to check another source too, just to look and see if it's agreeing, but it sure looks like close to Chapels is where we're seeing maybe the best risk of a tornado at this point.
Yeah, and Kendra, if folks are just joining us, I do want to mention, too, that there's an airport weather warning at GSP for obvious reasons, for a lot of wind and rain. Once again, we have that tornado warning that continues for another 13 minutes or so for the southeast part of Greenwood County. And then we also have the severe thunderstorm warning for Anderson, Greenville, Pickens, and Spartanburg, and that is until 5:15.
Yeah, and looking at this, at the latest when it comes to rotation with the Greenwood storm, it's now shifted east of Kirksey, and it really is that area that's just in the far eastern part of Greenwood County. So getting east of Kirksey, east of Cambridge, and we'll continue to watch it, but I'll just point it out one more time. We're going to head over to Tori in a second for a news update, but you can see northeast of Kirksey, it's an area of rotation that it looks to be getting a little bit better. May not be quite as tight and defined as it once was, but we're still watching it. Let's kick it over to the desk.
Yeah, Cody and I have been monitoring social media and our email. As we know, a lot of people send in photos or videos of some of this severe weather we're seeing. Right now, I found on the Greenwood County Sheriff's Office Facebook page, they're experiencing a lot of flooding on roads, so they just put out some reminders for neighbors in the county about driving through water, through flooding. And it looks like a couple of viewers are saying some bad places on Scotch Cross Road East right now. But other than that, they're really not seeing any damage in the area. I know Cody checked in with them about 15 minutes ago too and didn't see anything.
Yeah, I just talked to Sergeant Hood in Greenwood County about 5 minutes ago, and they still don't have any reports coming in, but that's a very rural area. So just like we've seen in some past storms, it might take a little bit, but they do have their deputies out in the southern part of Greenwood County, but right now, fortunately, no reports of damage, and I haven't got any reports of any of the deputies seeing a funnel cloud, but again, a lot of these could be rain wrapped. So
that's very true. And again, this is going through an area, it's not a highly populated area. We've got a lot of small communities in southern Greenwood County. So that's where our tornado warning continues. But they did just alert us that they will be letting this expire as the warning goes out. And actually, it looks like
it's just been allowed to expire.
Okay, so our tornado warning is over in Greenwood County. And we'll see if they extend it into looks like they may have. If they extend it into Newberry County, or maybe they didn't. I'm not sure what that was. It popped up. But we do still have severe weather ongoing, and that is for Greenville County and Anderson County and a small part of Pickens County here. This is the part of the line segment that is the worst, the strongest wind. The potential for rotation exists here, but for the most part, wind is going to be our main concern.
It is moving northeast at about 30 miles per hour, but still pretty good-looking velocity signature on this. Definitely still seeing this storm rotate and producing that threat for a tornado to be on the ground.
Right, I'm just taking a look at our Grovetown camera right now. They're trying to dry off the camera to get rid of some of those raindrops. It's actually helping a little bit. But I'm not seeing anything in the way we were talking about those chance for some stronger storms near the Augusta area. And fortunately, it doesn't look like anything that would be all too concerning at this very second. Definitely still some heavy rainfall. Don't get me wrong, there's some lightning going on there as well, but it's pretty hard to see. There is some low-level clouds with that as well, but doesn't look like anything in the way of rotation going on. It does look like, so the latest from the Weather Service near Bamberg County, it looks like they are going to issue a new tornado warning for that storm moving now into Orangeburg County near Branchville.
Okay.
And so they're also watching rotation on the storm moving northeast through Allendale County towards Bamberg County. So our southeastern counties, you guys aren't done yet. That's the current storm that has a severe thunderstorm warning on it. And it does look like that they have added that new tornado warning. So they're going to be canceling or allowing that tornado emergency to expire in southern sections of Farwell Crossroads, Embry, moving just across the county line there into Branchville, as well as 66. You guys are going to be keeping an eye on that storm as well.
Yeah, and that's your Bamberg and Orangeburg County line right there. And the worst of this cell is basically where they just clip this polygon. So where it goes from that purple to a red color is where they are changing the verbiage a little bit with this warning. So having it be a Doppler indicated tornado, but it was previously a tornado emergency. We actually did get confirmation that this was a devastating tornado for Allendale County earlier this afternoon. This is about to cross over the Bamberg County line into Orangeburg County. So next in line is going to be places like Branchville, Lambrick. You're going to also be in line for that. So this storm is basically moving right along that South Carolina road.
And Riley, if you could you, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you go to, if you can clear that alert, and if you can go up closer to the Augusta Metro.
Okay.
There is another storm that we're going to be keeping an eye on there too. Here.
Fine.
So there is another storm there that we're going to watch. Here, it might be easier.
Yeah, you may just want to set it for me.
Yeah. We'll zoom this back out a little bit here.
There we go.
So definitely some more. I'll let you do it.
Yeah, here we go. So I can zoom in with this. There we go.
Okay. Sorry, guys. It does
Oh,
get
is that
a little.
a new tornado? Is that?
So it looks like they did a tornado warning for Allendale County. So we were just talking about that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we'll go back there before we talk about Augusta. I'll
Yeah.
get that on the high res.
We do have
real
some
quick.
storms forming around Augusta. We'll mention that really quickly. Those aren't tornado warned at the moment, but we are watching these cells in our eastern counties. This actually was an upgrade to what was a severe thunderstorm.
Live 5 News starts now with a First Alert Weather Day.
Chief Meteorologist Bill Walsh working with meteorologist Chris Holtzman tracking inbound rotating storms. We have a new tornado warning, which I want to show you as we kind of zoom on in right here. This one now extends up in toward Holly Hill. That's just on the edge of our viewing area, but if you're up in Holly Hill, now's the time to get to your safe space, because as we zoom into this storm, we've had multiple warnings on this, and this one rotation has a history of actual damage. We had a debris ball with that. We had actual firemen telling us there was damage back down in toward Allendale, and it continues to push now toward the northeast at about 27 to 30 miles an hour. Again, here's Branchville. As you take a look over toward Holly Hill, now you notice that warning area has extended into Holly Hill, up towards Santee as well, right along I-95, just past that the Frank Culbertson intersection of 95 and 26. I'm going to kind of come out here just a little bit and show you the rotation there. There's the rotating storm that we're watching. There's some pretty close rotation, and again, as you watch that, it's going to continue to really track right along that box. That's why, as you take a look right there, that warning has been issued. And again, as you take a look at the alert itself, that alert goes until 5:45 for this area right here. That's 5 o'clock, and then the new one for Holly Hill right up here until 5:45. This tornado warning is back toward Earhart, and again, that goes until 5:15. So we have multiple warnings in these areas. Again, what we're going to have to watch, here's Bowman, here's Santee, and again, this one till 5:45. That's Bamberg, Clarendon, and Orangeburg counties as we take a peek at it and kind of show you that's heading up just to the other side of Lake Marion. So again, if you're up there towards Santee, right along I-95 where it crosses over Lake Marion, back into Holly Hill, Utahville, just kind of be on the lookout for this one storm, because it is rotating, and there is a history of this storm bringing a lot of energy up that way. And once again, as I take a look at the velocity, this is what it looks like back here. There's Bowman. There's Branchville, and again, we are watching the rotation. Again, the green shows the inbound winds, and the red shows the outbound winds. And what we're looking at right here is a pretty good rotation. We call it a couplet, and this one was very, very pronounced a little while ago. As you take a look, that's the bullseye right there, right? So you've got the green in, the red out, and there's your rotating storm. And again, that's going in this direction. So that's why that warning was issued here just a little while ago. As I zoom on out just a little bit, I do want to show you how long this is going to be lasting. Between now and say 6 or 7 o'clock, we can see our future tracker does show that these storms are pretty strong. They're working to the north and east very rapidly, and it's not going to be here long. But between now, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, they start to pull away. 9 o'clock, pretty much out of here. So we are watching that very carefully. We do have a tornado watch for the entire area, except Georgetown and Williamsburg County. You're not in that watch area, but the Tri-County area southward, that goes until 9 o'clock. And these are the areas that we're continuing to warn on. So once again, we'll kind of continue to kind of focus on that. Severe thunderstorm warning continues also back into parts of Colleton County on the other side of Baltimore, more so for like back toward Islandton and back just along the, not far from Fairfax. That's a severe thunderstorm warning because that second cell Chris and I were watching does have some rotation. And again, the storm threats here this evening, damaging wind, very high threat. Tornado, we actually elevated it. We're in a hatched area. That means a 20% chance of an EF2 or better tornado. That's why that has been increased a little bit. Flooding is not going to be an issue. Once again, as we take a look at the flooding issues, that's not going to be a problem because what we have out there are, fast-moving storms. So they're not going to move all that quickly. As I back out, you'll see, again, Future Tracker does take it over the next couple of hours to the north and east, and that will continue to pull away. This is the current situation. There's that rotating storm just on the other side of Bowman. So if you're up in Bowman, if you're over in Holly Hill, that's why we'll continue to watch that. And as I back out here just a little bit, there it is, Allendale, all the way up to Earhart, back up to Branchville, over toward just on the other side of St. George. Right now, St. George not in the path of this tornado, but we're going to continue to kind of keep an eye on that, and we'll watch it as it pushes to the north and east. And once again, as I kind of zoom out a little bit further, I do want to show you this area once again. There to just south of Bowman, that's moving at about 37 miles per hour. In fact, let me see if I can pull up some storm tracks on this one. And again, as you look at the actual track on this storm, it is pretty quick. It's about, like I said, 27 miles an hour. So here's the center right there, Branchville. As we come on out to about, let's say 21, 22 miles an hour, we can see it's going to head toward, Wetzel at about 514, Wells at about 525. Again, it does show you just how much energy there is out there within these cells. So we're going to continue to track that right here over the next half hour. Chris Holtzman also joining us at the weather desk. And Chris, this storm has some history of debris already. I don't know if we can pull up Chris.
Yeah, it certainly does. It certainly does. Meteorologist Chris Holtzman here, live at the first look at the weather desk, I should say. We'll zoom on in because this storm has had history of producing debris, and that's basically the tornado sucking the debris up from the ground all the way into the upper levels of the atmosphere. And this is our debris tracker. So anytime you see some of this blue and yellow here, that's indicating possibly some debris. The radar is recognizing non-rain. So basically objects, it could be wood, it could be dirt, stuff like that the radar is picking up. And that's once again with this one tornado warning. I do want to show you first, if you are under a tornado warning, this is what you need to do. So of course, we always say when there's a tornado warning, you need to go into the most interior part of your house, away from windows. You can see definitely an interior room, so we'll zoom on in and I will show you. Good choice could be the bathroom, perhaps if you don't have any windows nearby. A bathtub is a good area to go. Also cover yourself with blankets or mattresses for protection, and of course avoid windows, doors, and outside walls. So you can see the most interior lower portion of your room is the best place to go. Of course, take your phone or tablet with you. The Live 5 weather app is a great tool to have. If you're not by your TV, you can still get the latest alerts and track all these storms on the radar, but we are tracking once again that potential. We'll of course continue to keep an eye on this, but we'll be right back in just a few minutes. Was that good? Because I wanted to.
Okay, that's how it works.
Yeah.
Good job. All right.
Did you get some stuff, Katrina, of like me too? Okay, perfect.
Okay.
There's a new warning down there too, though, over here.
So you don't need me to toss the bill or anything?
Yeah, that just popped up. So, I'm gonna put traffic hits in this, and I'll.
Callie?
So definitely keep in mind that really everywhere across the area has the threat for tornadoes. And you can see that kind of classic rotation look on velocity data right there. Definitely air Let's take a look at our tower cam right here. So this is looking eastbound down I-20 towards Costco, the Savannah River. If we can turn that camera to look basically the exact opposite direction to try and make it look going westbound down the interstate and maybe even a little bit left of that. That's where that storm will be approaching from. So we're just kind of scanning our skies here at the moment. You can see that traffic there on I-20 is at a standstill. So not ideal to be on area roadways at the moment. If we can continue left of that, Joe, just a little bit more. So there we go, scanning. Yeah, you just kind of lose sight of everything. Still some pretty intense rainfall, but we'll hold steady on that location and continue to watch it.
Joe, I would actually turn that camera just a little bit more too. We can keep it on radar.
This is what we're trying to find right here.
I did see, John did respond from the National Weather Service, Riley, so they're keeping an eye on it, but they're not overly concerned. So that might just be some more broader rotation over the city right now. So it's still definitely getting its act together. And by the time if they were to issue a warning on this, it will most...
Chief Meteorologist Bill Walsh right here with Chris Holtzman as you take a look right there at a wide shot of the tornadic cells that continue to move across the southeast. We are live right now in the studio continuing to track these here at the Big Wall. And again, you can see what's happening as we take a look at some of these tornadoes. Again, the one that had a history was back over toward Allendale. We're watching that pretty carefully as we zoom on in just a little bit. Again, this one area that we've been watching pretty carefully is heading up toward the Holly Hill area, and that is a pretty good rotation. That was the one that we warned on just a little while ago. Behind that, we have more rotating storms. But again, you can see there's a history of damage with that one all the way back in toward Allendale County. Let me take this full and walk on over to the green wall. And again, this is what it looks like. Bill Blake, thank you, directing our afternoon coverage right here. And you can see right there, there's the energy. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. This area right here has the history of the damage now back up toward Branchville, all the way on up toward, say, the Holly Hill area. This is that new warning that we just gave you the first alert to just a little while ago. And again, that continues to push in that direction. Now, as I kind of zoom on out and show out the velocity, this is what we're looking at. This couplet, that little circle right there, that's inbound and outbound winds. That does show us where the rotation is. You've got the inbound with the green and the outbound, of course, with the red. And you can see right there, as we take a peek, right just on the other side of Branchville, that one area right here is a rotating storm, right? That continues to push to the northeast at about 27 miles an hour. So it's coming up in this direction like that. So if you're on up toward Santee, if you're on over toward, say, Holly Hill, again, you can see that that area right there is rotating. That's when you need to get into your safe spot. That's when you need to take those tornado precautions. So we're watching that pretty carefully. And again, I want to show you they're going to continue to move through the area over the next half hour. This is up until about 7 o'clock. And not just the next half hour, through 7 or 8 o'clock tonight, they'll continue to pull away. So there is a lot of energy in the atmosphere, a lot of rotation, and again, that's kind of as we watch right there. Let me show you what's going on as far as the alerts right now, and kind of gives you a wider shot of what we're talking about. These are all tornado warnings, right? This one up here until 5:15, which extends back toward Earhart, that's Bamberg County. But as we move up this way, toward Holly Hill, Bowman, this is the one for Bamberg, Clarendon, and Orangeburg County until 5:45. So that includes Holly Hill, includes Utahville, just on the other side of Lake Marion, and does include Santee. So if you're up that way, there's a lot of campgrounds up there, and a lot of folks live pretty much right along the banks there of Lake Marion. So again, that's really important to be watching as we take a look at the actual radar signatures here. You can see just on the other side of Santee, that's where all the lightning is, that's where the energy is. And once again, as we show you the rotation, where the actual tornado would be, again, this one does have a history of damage. It does show you that's why that warning was issued. And it is moving, like I said, to the northeast at about 27 miles an hour. But look at that. That is just a very fast moving, rotating storm. And that's when you have to get into your safe space. So once again, Bowman over to Santee, back on over toward Holly Hill, be in your safe space. And even as you look, a little bit further downstream, ahead of that storm, you folks up in Manning, right there in the parts of right along the Clarendon, Berkeley County area, just kind of be on the lookout for that as we take a look at the future of where this thing is going. But as we track it right now, you can see right there, really just on the other side of Branchville, that's where the rotation is. And then just past that, we have another rotation. This is back toward Earhart. So we are watching that one as well. In fact, Chris Holtzman, my partner here this afternoon, continuing to cover this storm for us. And Chris, there are a couple of rotating storms, one right after the other.
Yeah, there really are, Bill, and we look at that on velocity, so that's showing the wind just above our heads. And when we see those two things close together, I'll zoom on in here. You can see the first tornado warning near Branchville. This is where we have some of that rotation, because you can see this green and red, and that's the radar indicating winds going in different directions close together. And when that happens, we get rotation, and because of that rotation, that prompts the tornado warning. So once again, wind going this way and then wind going the other way, and that's what promotes that spinning. So this is right near the Lambrick area. Now let me zoom out, because we are watching a few other disturbances here. There's one tornado warning here. You can see right over 601 near Hughes. But let me zoom out, because we are tracking another tornado warning that has just been issued, and that is near the Pembroke area in Georgia, and that is also moving up to the northeast. Eventually, if this maintains its rotation, could be approaching the Beaufort area and eventually perhaps near Edisto within the next hour. So we're watching these cells in advance of the main line, and because of the ingredients in place, that is promoting rotation. Now let me tell you as well, if a tornado warning is issued, where should you go? So if you're under this tornado warning right now and you're listening in the Utahville area, for example, Holly Hill, but you want to make sure you're in your most interior portion part of the house. Make sure you're away from windows as well. So we'll zoom on in. You can see if a bathroom is the option and you do have no windows around, the bathtub is a good choice to go into, as well as the hallway, for example, where there's no windows. So avoid those windows, doors, and even outside walls, and cover yourself with blankets or a mattress for protection. So that's what to do should you be in a tornado warning. Of course, take the Live 5 weather app with you. But let's head to Chief Meteorologist Bill Walsh. He's going to track those storms. Once again, we do have several tornado warnings around the area. Bill?
Indeed, Chris, and I want to zoom out just a little bit to show you, as Chris mentioned, we had those areas of target that we're watching right here, but back to the south and west. Look at the expansive energy here. This is back into Georgia, all the way back on into North Florida. All that continues to push off to the north and east. All these red boxes are all tornado warnings. The orange boxes, severe thunderstorm warnings. And once again, as we zoom on in here just a little bit closer, the ones that we're really watching pretty carefully, the one that is up into Orangeburg County, southeastern Orangeburg County, heading up toward the Holly Hill area. And as Chris mentioned, this other cell that was just on the other side of, say, Statesboro, Georgia. Now that may continue to move up toward the Savannah River area, possibly on into eastern Colleton County here over the next few hours. Let me pull it in a little closer once again, because we're kind of watching a widespread area. This is the one that has the history. Actually, we've got Branchville right there, Smokes. You've got Earhart back in here. As we get a little bit closer and show you the velocity, there have almost two target areas. You've got the original rotation right there, the original vortex, and then you've got a secondary. This one, Chris, it looks like is tightening up a little bit. This is the one down near Earhart, 601. Again, that warning will continue as it pushes off to the north and east. This one could possibly get closer to St. George in time. This one, of course, Bowman continues to move off to the north and east here just a little bit. Let me show you what it looks like as far as the alerts. And again, as you kind of show this, you can see just the path of these storms. This alert here for Colleton County goes until 5:15. Again, that's just on the other side of Smokes. This, of course, will continue unless it's extended 5:15. But as we take a little further push off to the north and east here, here's Bowman, here's Holly Hill. This one, of course, for Clarendon and Orangeburg counties until 5:45 because of where that storm system is moving to the north and east. And it looks like we have another one. This is not in our area. This is just on the other side, St. Matthews on up toward, just on the other side of Pinewood there. But the one that if you are in the Santee area, Holly Hill, Utahville, just get in that safe space now, because this does have a history of seeing some rotation and damage, because we were talking about Allendale. Allendale has damage, confirmed damage on the ground from this tornado. So, and we are now part of the area in a hatched area. That's a 20% chance of seeing an EF2 or better tornado here during the watch next few hours during the watch history, which goes until about 9 o'clock tonight. And again, as I show you where we're going with this, here it is 5 o'clock. I'll put the clock into motion. 7 o'clock, still going to be watching for showers and thunderstorms, maybe some rotating storms. Even by 8 o'clock, these storms start to pull away to the north and east, and by 9 o'clock, it starts to get out of here. But once again, those areas that move by fast can do the damage. Chris can take us once again down to the street level and show you where these storms are going. Chris?
Yeah, so we are tracking numerous tornado warnings. I want to show you the one near St. Matthews, and that is moving to the northeast at about 40 miles per hour. So here's the latest track of this storm that is capable of producing a tornado, and this is moving to the northeast once again at about 40 miles per hour. So those of you in Utahville, by 5:23, this storm capable of producing a tornado will be right over your area. So pushing to the northeast once again at about 30 miles per hour to 40 miles per hour. The secondary storm just behind that one, this one's moving at about 40 miles per hour as well. So this could be near the Holly Hill area by 6 o'clock, Bowman by 5:40. So if you're in the path of both of these storms, you want to make sure you are in your safe space. Let's take a street level view for some of these warnings, because we're now starting to get a few warnings and we'll try to go through each one of them now. The first one, once again, is near the Bowman and Holly Hill area. We're seeing right over the Holly Hill region. You can see the storm is right on your doorstep. Significant cloud to ground lightning with this as well. But more importantly, we are watching that velocity, because that is indicating some tight rotation. Now, where it is right here, you can see we have the purple and red. And I actually want to click this because I want to see how strong some of these winds are higher up. And that's indicating a wind speed right now of about, we'll say 40 to 50 miles per hour just above our head. And then you can see on the other side, we're seeing those winds strengthening. So that's indicating that couplet, or that rotation, is becoming a bit stronger as it's moving to the northeast near the Utahville and Holly Hill area. So if you are watching us from those locations, the actual storm is not approaching yet. It'll be there very soon. So make sure you're in your safe space right now, including the Santee, Utahville, and also Holly Hill area. Let me quickly show you as well. We'll check out our debris tracker, and that's a special edition as well. And you can see, not seeing any debris balls right now, but some of these storms have produced debris. There was an actual tornado on the ground near Allendale, and that's with this system that's moving into our area. So one quick look at live Super Doppler Max. We're tracking multiple tornado warnings. We'll send it over now to a Chief Meteorologist, Bill Walsh. He'll continue to track these warnings.
Indeed, and you talk about getting down to the street level, Chris. Once again, you can see these are the warning areas, and I want to kind of show you again the trail of this storm system, really from Earhart back over to Smokes Branchville. But as we take a look at that rotation, as Chris mentioned, the one that's now up just on the other side of Bowman, and just on the other side of Earhart. This one is tightening up a little bit, Chris, as we watch that pretty carefully. We're going to continue to watch that, maybe heading just on the other side of Smokes. If you're in St. George, just stay tuned, because this extension of this tornado warning might actually include that part of Upper Dorchester if this rotation stays as it is, and it looks like it's getting a little bit tighter, in other words, stronger rotation at the surface. And again, as you see up and down, there's quite a bit of lightning with these storms. Let me take you to the street level again. Here's Holly Hill, here's Wells, this is 15, there's Utahville, here's I-95, and again, this is where the energy is with the storm system, all the way back just on the other side of I-95. And when you look at the velocity at that level, again, this is going to show you where that rotation is. And there's Bowman, and again, there's Witzel, and again, there it is. There's, as you look at 178 right there, this is the actual tornado would be on the ground right about here. So as you look really down, really from 210 back over to 178. And again, this is just on the other side of I-95. So if you are in that area, if you're up down on even over to say 176, just on the other side of, say, Wells. That's why we're going to watch that pretty carefully as we back off a little bit. And you can see that second cell down here. That's also almost following, almost training. We call it training, one cell after the other cell, kind of like a locomotive. You've got one car after another car. And that happens with these storm systems. You've got one cell moving on through, a secondary cell develops behind it. That moves on through. It's in the same environment. So that's why you see such energy as it moves pretty much to the north and east. And once again, there it is. As we zoom in a little bit, you can see at the intersection of 26 and 95, you can see right there a lot of lightning. And once again, that's where that rotation is continuing to push to the north and east. Once again, as we look ahead into time, here we are, 5 o'clock. I'll put the clock into motion. By 6, 7 o'clock, we'll still see some of this active motion to the north and east. And the activity will continue through the evening. By about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, that's 8 o'clock. It starts to pull away. By 9 o'clock, it continues to pull away. So that's not going to be here that long. So as we look at the overnight on into the morning hours, it's not going to be an issue. But as you take a wider picture, here is the watch area is in yellow. That goes until 9 o'clock. These areas right here with those training cells, that's all red. Those are tornado warnings. That's the other one that Chris mentioned up in St. Matthews. And what I'm keeping a close eye on, here's Hilton Head Island, Savannah, Beaufort, and Colleton County, Hampton, Jasper counties. This area is pushing to the north and east. We have the warning there. Could that warning be pushed into South Carolina? Certainly. If that area right there continues as an area of rotating storms, that will certainly be the problem.
And his photographer, they are in the thick of it in parts of Orangeburg County. Hey, Jasmine, can you tell me exactly where they're looking? Are they driving eastbound or westbound on I-26? Do we know? And maybe we can kind of find out. Can Nick west? Okay, so going toward Holly Hill. So they're going
They are.
westbound on Holly Hill right now. Is Nick on the phone, or can he hear us and can he talk right now? Hey, Nick, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Nick, tell us what's going on.
How you doing?
Look, I'm doing all right, but how are you doing?
It's definitely picked up. As you can see, we have next to no visibility here on the roadways.
So 26 is probably crossing that area.
We
between
are
26 and 95.
we're in Bowman right now. Just checked before we went live with you. So we're in Bowman. We're continuing on 26 toward Holly Hill. We put in a call with the Holly Hill Police Department to see, how many weather-related events they've responded to this point. We have not heard back from the Holly Hill Police Department, but again, trying to reach out and get some more information from them as we're headed that way. But as you can see, just really difficult to see on the roadways right now. The rain really picking up. We saw a number of wrecks maybe about 20 minutes ago. That stalled traffic. Then right when we picked up, as you can see right here, another car stopped along the side of the road. Yeah, just really difficult conditions out here. And we're trying to be careful. We're trying to stay slow. We're trying to, do what we can to provide you the information, but sort of a scary situation here.
Well, thank you, Nick, and your photographer. Let's be extra careful out there, guys, and drive slowly. He's giving you ground truth of what's happening in parts of our viewing area, particularly in Orangeburg County, a little closer to the Bowman area that we're seeing that on I-26. So, guys, be careful out there. We'll come back to First Alert Radar. It's pretty rough outside. All right, so this is not the time, and we still have more showers and storms to deal with as we go through this late afternoon, now early evening. But Vaughn has also kind of zoomed into this spot here a bit closer to Otto Pond Road. How about areas near Pond Road there, Ebenezer Road as well, and Wetzel Pond Road? This is going to be this area a bit closer to the I-95, I-26 corridor. He was making his way toward the westbound direction of I-26 a bit closer to Bowman. And so this is going to be near that spot with the torrential rain that we've been seeing at this area. And so that's why you really don't need to be out on the roads right now. Not only do we have a tornado warning, we have the heavy rain as well. So let's make sure that we're indoors, not in the car. Those errands can wait. Dinner can wait another day if you need to do that. So let's make sure that we're in that safe location. Heavy rain continues in parts of Orangeburg County. And so we need to make sure that we are okay. We're safe with the family and a sturdy structure right now. That tornado warning continues until 5:45, but there's another one that continues, I think, until about 6 o'clock this evening. And I look at this one, Vaughn, and you'll see right there, this is the one right there. You'll see this one. That's a clear, let's put on that storm relative velocity again. Yep, there it is right there. We're seeing another indicator of some storm relative velocity, some problems here of this tight rotation that we're seeing technically outside of our viewing area. So we're not going to get roadways here. But I believe this is in Bamberg County. Is that Bamberg County?
Yeah.
I think it's Bamberg County here. So we're getting another indication near Earhart. So remember we were talking about those areas a bit earlier. Now we're getting more indications of this happening near the Earhart community. And this is a clear indication also where we have the reds and greens mixing together, but there's something going on. All right. That's why that tornado warning has been issued for this area. And so we know that it's moving to the northeast, and that's going to track toward Orangeburg County again. So that warning, I believe, goes until 6 o'clock. We have several warnings here that we've been tracking this afternoon. And so that warning, I believe, goes now until 6 o'clock. The other one that includes Clarendon County goes until 5:45. And there's also a severe thunderstorm warning that includes Saluda County. We forgot to mention that one. That goes until about 6 o'clock this evening. So we have several areas that we're watching. The most important ones have been the tornado warnings that we've seen for parts of Bamberg, Orangeburg counties, but also over Sumter County that, Vaughn, we need to revisit that one as well. Yeah. At some point, can you go to the radar? Maybe you can talk about Sumter County for a second and let folks know what we're seeing there, because we've got a few areas, and we have to kind of apologize to everybody at home, but we have so many areas that we need to keep watch of. But Sumter County, look what's going on in Sumter County right now. And let me get back on the map. Look at this indicator right here. All right, so that's crossing over. That was over in Calhoun County, and we were talking about this a bit earlier, but we have these little inflow notches here. And if we put the storm relative velocity on one more time, Vaughn, again, I'm going to let you have it, Flora, for just a second, as I can get some water here. But again, it's going to be this area. It's in rotation.
Wow.
Okay, we do know there's some rotation right there, especially in this area here. Maybe a little bit there as well. But we do know that we've got the rotation, and that's why for our friends who are near Pinewood in Sumter County, Fulton Crossroads, these are areas underneath this warning, this tornado warning here. So we need to make sure you're going to that lowest level of the home. And Vaughn, I'm going to let you take it over for just a second. But these are areas that are seeing some violent conditions in the area, and they really need to take heed of the advice that we've been giving them all afternoon.
Absolutely. This is a community called Remini, and this is an area just south of Pinewood. So Pinewood, Remini, Fulton Crossroads. This is a community that needs to watch it very closely. I know it's a rural community, but hey, pick up the phone, call your friends, family, neighbors, let them know what's going on. Camp Matt Boykin Road. Let's watch out for that area. Also near West Avenue, Paxville is just outside of you, so you're probably seeing the gusty winds, the dark skies nearby, but watch out. Remini and those communities in there, Governor Richard Road, let's watch out for that area. Strong winds, strong storms, a tornado on the ground. Get to your safe place, folks. Let's make sure that you know exactly where all of your friends and family members are. Make sure that you've put in a call to find out where they are and where they're going to be, because this is something that won't be over in the next 5 minutes. I know that that warning does expire soon, but we do know that we still need to kind of watch out for some residuals. 5:45 is when this expires. It's only 5:22. So we're in the middle of it. We're still in the thick of this as it continues to happen. And more than likely, it's going to continue for a while past Pinewood. And so as we start to see it moving up to Pocatello Springs and those communities there near McCrae's Mill Road, Sumter, like right in the city of Sumter, near Britain, near Title Road, in those communities, watch out closely, because even with those gusty winds, they can actually create projectiles. Things that are not secured and tied down can quickly break away and break free, and of course cause other hazards. We have seen indications of a lot of trees down, a lot of water on the roadways. This is just the type of weather that you need to just stay inside. Just go ahead and stay inside, stay safe. Shaw Air Force Base, I know you guys are fine and you're well protected there and you are doing all of your safety precautions, but you're under the gun with this as well. Raccoon Road, Dalzell, Brewington Road, all of those communities near Wise Drive as you head closer into the city of Sumter. So this is an area being watched very, very closely. Like I said, this continues until about 5:45. So far, we haven't gotten any pictures out of Sumter just yet. Now, we have had some pictures from Allendale County of the tornado signature and the damage. And of course, there are 2 tornadoes there that originated in Allendale County. This is the one that's coming in from Sumter County. And so far, I haven't heard any ground truth to it, but we do know that it's radar indicated that there is a tornado on the ground in Sumter. So let's make sure that we respect that and stay inside, stay indoors, keep the kids safe. Remember, the kids got out early today for this particular reason. We wanted them to be home and safe when it happened. With that being said, I'm going to give you a wider view so that I can kind of break down something else for you. We were looking at 2 different batches of storms. That first batch starting to move through Sumter County now, but that second batch, let's take this off and let me show you all of the watches and warnings on here. So if we look at this second half of the system, it is producing severe thunderstorm warnings. So all of these that you see back in this area, the orange indicators, those are severe thunderstorm warnings that are being produced by the second half of the system. The front half of the system producing tornadic cells, producing cells with rotation and tornadoes that we know are going on now. So I don't want you to let your guards down as soon as that first batch of rain moves over. I don't want you to say, well, it's over, I can go outside. Absolutely not. We're still dealing with strong storms in place right outside your window. We got a new indicator. I'm going to send it back over to Chief Meteorologist Dennis Brown for that.
Yeah, Vaughn, that's a new severe thunderstorm warning. That's going to be for areas in Lexington County, Saluda, Edgefield counties, and Aiken County until 6:15. So there's going to be this area here that we're watching. That's until, again, 6:15 that we're watching a severe thunderstorm warning. So we have not only tornado warnings, but several severe thunderstorm warnings. This one also for Saluda County. That's until about 6 o'clock tonight. So we have some pretty potent conditions across the Midlands right now. Several areas that are under the gun at this point. And like Vaughn was indicating, we still have not only the tornado warning to deal with, but we have several gusty winds over to the west pushing into the area toward the heart of the Midlands pretty soon, already over the heart of the Midlands for Lexington County. So we're going to start seeing conditions get worse, even for Columbia, most likely. So let's make sure that folks are inside in a sturdy structure. Right now, these are severe thunderstorm warnings. But again, with our atmosphere being primed tonight, we can't rule out tornadoes in the area, and we have several tornado warnings in effect right now. Now, our Nick Neville and his photographer, we've taken their shot down for now because they're taking cover at this point. So hopefully we can get a shot from them later on, but right now they're taking cover. And that's why we want you to do the same thing. We want you to understand we're going through the same thing you're going through. And so that's why they're not on the road at this point, and you're not going to see a shot from them right now. But we've talked about Sumter County. We also need to go back to Orangeburg County here because we've been seeing the rough conditions over this community here. That also includes Clarendon County. So we have a couple areas. Let's show this one, though, Vaughn, because this one for sure near Bowman, near the I-26 and I-95 corridor. You'll see it right there. These are spots that are getting hammered right now with heavy rain, gusty winds, and we still have that tornado warning until about 5:45. And so you'll see Wetzel Pond Road there. Not going to indicate no road. I'm not sure why we're not getting roads right there, but Otto Pond Road, areas near, let's see.
They all went away.
Just a bit more. Maybe we can kind of move to the east. Can move to the east on that one. There we go. Schuler Belt Road, areas near Farmfield Road. These are spots here in the eastern parts of Orangeburg County that we're getting some of the worst of this weather at this point with some gusty winds, and it's creating some problems here. And so we're going to watch out for this very closely. Let's see here. That's going to be Otter Pond Road is another roadway that we're seeing. Let's see here. Is that Iris Pond Road or Ibis? I think it's Ibis Point Road.
Ibis Point Road.
Ooh, it's been a long afternoon. Ibis Point Road that we're seeing, Askew Avenue. These are communities and roads, a very, very rural part of Orangeburg County. This does not include the city of Orangeburg, but it includes areas within the county that we are watching very closely, getting some heavy rain and also those indications of strong gusty winds. Jack Branch Road, Mount Olive Road, areas toward Vance Road. Vance, you are underneath this tornado warning that expires at 5:45. We're still at 5:27. So we still have several minutes to go. Stay in that safe location. If you're not in it, let's go. Let's hurry up. Let's go. And make sure you keep the TV turned up as well so you can hear the power of our voices. And we're going to continue to be with you throughout this warning until it's allowed to expire or be canceled as well. So you see these roads here, Jack Branch Road again. You'll see areas toward Freeport Drive and Antioch Road seeing some rough weather. And we'll continue seeing this again for some other spots. Pinocchio Way. Vaughn, if we can zoom out from this and we can show some folks. Again, we've been getting some indications of a little rotation as well. Let's put that storm relative or even the correlation coefficient. It doesn't really matter which one. We haven't talked about the correlation coefficient in a while. Not really. Not a lot.
Not much.
Not much. Maybe. But let's put on a storm relative velocity. And maybe, because we're not, you remember earlier, we were watching our coverage and we showed you clear indication.
You can see all three of them. Boom, boom, boom.
Yep. 1, 2, 3. Very clear, right? These tornado warnings right there in Sumter County, Orangeburg County, and then you'll see it right near Bamberg County heading toward Orangeburg County. And so these are areas here that are clear indications of rotation that we're seeing. And so we know we have an active day. Folks in Sumter County, Clarendon, Orangeburg, Bamberg, let's make sure we're going to those safe locations immediately if we're not already there. We still have some time. Again, it's almost 5:30 this afternoon, so we have until a couple of these. This is until 5:45. That one down there is until 6 o'clock. All right, but this one here, we're still seeing some of this rotation that's going on, at least some broad rotation that continues pushing to the east there of I-95 that will impact areas a little closer to Utahville, areas just south of Lake Marion, areas that may cross over just a little bit into Clarendon County, but you'll see Elsie Road, Deedle Street, areas in the map toward, let's see here, Caswell Lane, and Otto Street. These are communities and roads that we're seeing on the map with the tightest rotation that we're seeing. Some of it's a little bit broad, but some rotation nonetheless that we need to keep in mind as the system rolls through the northeast. And that movement is about 35 miles an hour. So it's still showing some of that movement as it crosses over. And this one here, very clear indications of rotation that's right there on the county lines. near Bamberg and Orangeburg counties here. So that's going to be south of Branchville. This one's also continuing to roll to the northeast at 35 miles an hour. That warning expires at 6 o'clock this evening. So we have still almost another 30 minutes. Hopefully this will continue to weaken as it moves through. And this one here, again, we're getting clear indications from storm relative velocity. We're looking at the movement. All right, we're looking at winds here, the movement. All right, so winds going toward the radar site in green and winds going away in red. And so we're seeing some broad rotation here over areas in Sumter County, which concerns us a bit. That's near Pinewood, over Pinewood right now. All right, continue to move to the northeast. So there are going to be some spots in Sumter County, like near the city of Sumter and southward, that will have the worst of this activity as it continues rolling through. Vaughn, do you have something you need to
That
say?
one was canceled.
That one was just canceled?
That one.
All right, so that one for Sumter County was just canceled. All right, let's go to Judy Gatson and Hannah Combler at the news desk to get more updates about what's happening right here on our 530 show.
Chief, we'll come back to you, especially if we hear any alarms go off over in the Weather Center. We just want to kind of reset for those of you who are just joining us to give you an update. While Chief Meteorologist Demennis Brown and Vaughn Gaskin have been tracking the storms, we've been checking in with the South Carolina Emergency Management Division. About an hour or so ago, they issued what they call a tornado emergency for the Allendale County area. And honestly, Hannah, I can't remember the last time that they've done that. That's a pretty rare situation, but it's just indicative that this is a life-threatening situation. I know there's some areas in our viewing area that may not have severe weather at the moment, but there are some areas that are certainly under the gun. It is a life-threatening situation, so we want to make sure everybody who is in the path of this storm has the information they need to stay safe. Hannah, before we check in, I just want to give the latest information that I received from SCEMD. We got word of a tornado on the ground, right, in Allendale County. Even on a good day without
a few folks back on the other side of Georgetown. I'm going to zoom in here just a little bit. And again, there's Andrews right here. Again, that's just pushed on the other side of Andrews down toward, say, 51, all the way on up into just on the other side of Plantersville. So this is going to go by downtown Georgetown. It's going to stay to your west, probably going to stay to the west of Pawleys Island. But there is some heavy rain, some gusty winds right there, and certainly some dangerous lightning. Let's talk about the velocity with this one system to see if there's any more rotation going with this system. It doesn't look like it right now. There was a little bit. It's very broad, so that's not going to be a big player as far as rotating at this point. But we'll have to watch them because we have a history of seeing the rotation. Okay, as we zoom on in. Here's St. George. Again, that's why you want to be in your safe place. This is the one we're just talking about near 21 and 61. A very broad, a very closed rotation right there. Pretty strong couplet. You can see it updating live right there. Let's see if we can get a little bit closer. As Chris was mentioning to this one area that's down here, just on the other side of, just to the west of, say, southwest of St. George. So again, this is probably going to be heading on up in toward, say, Deranger, and then back on over toward maybe Reevesville. So if you are in Reevesville, you should be in your safe place right now. Lowest room in the house, hopefully an interior room away from windows, because this storm now is showing a very broad rotation, very close rotation rather. As I zoom in even closer, you can see right there is where we're looking at the gate-to-gate shear here as it continues to pull off to the north and east, right around 21 and 61. So that again does show that it is racing off to the north and east. Let me see if I can put on the storm tracks real quick, and you can kind of see what we're watching as we watch that right here. I'm going to pull up this one track. And again, as you look at, I'm going to go back here just real quick. If we can see, from Holly Hill, just on the other side to the south and west, that's where that rain is, and that's where the heaviest stuff is. And as we watch the track of that storm, again, as we move into the next few hours, again, 8 o'clock through 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, it'll continue to pull away to the north and east. So over the next few hours, we're continuing to track these right here. Let's get another look at that velocity and what's going on right there, of course. And as we continue our team coverage, Chris?
This afternoon. Remember that severe thunderstorm warning we were just talking about for areas in Aiken and Lexington counties? Now we're seeing enough rotation to now see a tornado warning. And this means for areas in Lexington and also the city of Columbia, we need to take cover now, immediately. We need to go to that lowest level of the home. We need to make sure we're staying away from the outside walls and those windows and put as many walls between you and the storm outdoors. Go to that interior bathroom without a window and pile into the bathtub right now. This is not the time to go to the window and see what's happening outside. This is not the time to go out in your car to storm chase. We need to make sure you and your family are protected. So that means grabbing a blanket or pillow and going to that safe location, and also grabbing a motorcycle helmet or maybe even a bicycle helmet to make sure you're protecting your head for any broken glass or flying debris. Again, this warning here, this tornado warning, goes until 6:15 this evening. Yvonne, if we can go back to the radar and we can show folks what we're tracking, because it's going to be this system that's likely in Aiken County. It's going to be this one here. All right, so if you see, yep, that's the one right there that most likely that we're tracking. That's going to be near portions of Lexington County. It's over Aiken County. This is most likely going to be the one that we're tracking. Maybe we can also put on the storm relative velocity in a second, and we'll show folks what we're seeing. It's this rotation right here. Okay, this is what we're seeing along I-20. That's going to be most likely north of I-20 and portions of Aiken County that we're seeing the worst of this. I do want to read off some of this from the storm warning. This is a Doppler radar indicated tornado that was located 8 miles southeast of Ridge Spring, or 9 miles south of Batesburg-Leesville, moving to the northeast at 50 miles an hour. Not 35, but 50 miles an hour. And we know that it will likely impact these areas, and I'll name them off. The town of Lexington, Red Bank, South Congaree at 6 o'clock tonight, Casey, Springdale, Oak Grove, Highway 6 at Lake Murray Dam, Pine Ridge, Columbia Metropolitan Airport, and the SC State Farm, or the Farmers Market, most likely at 6:05 this evening. Columbia, that's the city of Columbia, then West Columbia, St. Andrews, Rivers Bank Zoo, West Columbia River Walk, 5 Points, Columbia International University, the State Fairgrounds, Harbison State Forest around 6:10, also including other areas here. Again, we become more populated communities here that you'll see on the map. Seven Oaks, Olympia, Rosewood, Bundrick Island, Gilbert, Summit, Murray, Edmond, and Casey Riverwalk. All right, Yvonne has already put on these areas here. We're tracking this storm at 5:54. The worst will be right on top of the town of Lexington. Let's take cover now. Toward Casey at 6 o'clock this evening. Toward the city of Columbia, 6:04. We still have a little lead time to go to that safe location, Columbia. Coral Hill, if it continues on that track there, 6:10. And 6:14 toward Pontiac. So this is a storm. Again, it's moving to the northeast at 50 miles an hour. So it's going to be a rapidly moving system overall. We saw it earlier at 35. Now we're seeing it about 50 miles an hour on that movement to the northeast, and very populated areas in the heart of the Midlands. So this, again, warning includes areas toward the town of Lexington, Gilbert. It will also be for areas near the Red Bank area, near South Congaree, the city of Columbia, toward maybe Harbison and St. Andrews. These are going to be these areas that we really need to watch out for with this new tornado warning that will expire around 6:15 this evening. Vaughn, if we can go back and we've seen this is a rotation, and we could take that off for just a second maybe and talk about some of this rotation, because it's going to likely be in this area here that we're watching. These are going to be areas near I-20 in Aiken County that we're seeing some rough weather and rotation out of this. So we do know overall, as we look ahead in this area here, Aiken County, that's most likely going to be, well, this is Lexington County? I think, this is Lexington County now. So areas underneath this warning, you'll see a few roads like Ranch Road, Samaria Highway, Haven Road as well. These are going to be some spots here in the southern reaches of Lexington County that we're seeing some rough weather now, and things will most likely get worse as that rotation out of Aiken County moves northeastward. Vaughn, do you have a little more?
Absolutely. We are still tracking that same cluster. Now, that is the cluster. Here's what I'm noticing. We also have a couple of other indicators on here where we can show rotation within. This is the rotation that's built up by our computer. And right in that same area that you were talking about, that's where we're seeing that rotation just to the north of I-20. Now, this is going to be south of Samaria Highway, south of Monetta. So this is in Aiken County where we are seeing that cluster of storms. Now, keep in mind, this cluster is moving very rapidly. It's moving faster than the ones that we were looking at earlier. These are moving at about 50, 55 miles per hour. So this is a fast movement. So let's just think about this. We're talking about the movement of the storm itself, plus you have to add in the winds that are inside of that storm. So you factor those two together, and we could be seeing winds that are as high as 75 miles per hour with the two together. That's your storm relative and your base storm storm velocity. So those things together could be wind gusts as high as 75 miles per hour. I know at my house, we lose power when we get winds sometimes over about 40 miles per hour. So keep in mind, we're going to probably start to see some power outages. We're going to start to see those smaller tree limbs breaking down, and we're in a highly populated area, our main viewing area at that. With that being said, keep in mind, folks are going to start losing power. You need to make sure if you have power that your phone is charged, your phone is plugged in, your iPad is charged, you have all those things charged up just in case you lose power, and go to your safe place. Right now, I just got a indicator from someone who lives in a downtown building. Most of these folks in these high-rise downtown buildings, hopefully you're home from work at this point, but you need to try to get down to the lowest level, the basement level if possible. I know we got folks still working at Main Street. It's what, about 541. So folks are still working downtown, living downtown. Try to get down to that lowest level, that safe place. All these buildings should already have told you where you should go if there's a tornado. Find that information, get to that safe location, because you definitely are going to need that if you're in downtown Columbia. It's not here in downtown Columbia yet, but this is a good time to go ahead and do that because it's coming. It's on the way right now. Batesburg, Leesville. I want you guys to get on it too, because you're starting to see the strongest winds right over you as well, because you're kind of out ahead of it as of right now. And one thing that we were also talking about in the wake of all this, a lot of rain has fallen. We have, of course, seen rainfall estimates extremely high in these same communities where we're seeing this tornadic activity. So what I want to do is put on some of this. So Saluda County, you're probably going to get the gold star for all this rainfall that you've seen. Right now, I'm getting indications of over 3 inches of rain in parts of Saluda County. Northern Aiken County, almost 4 inches for you. On that edge of Edgefield and Aiken County, probably about 4.5 inches in some of those communities. Closer to Lake Murray, you're looking at about 1.5 inches there. Near Irmo, almost 2 inches for you in some of those communities. Right in the town of Lexington, you're coming in almost at 1.25 inches, about 1.5 inches in some of those communities. So big time numbers coming up here for rainfall. One of the main factors that we were talking about when this cluster moved through was the possibility of flooding. Not because these storms are slow moving, just because they're potent. They're coming down with very, very high water content. So, of course, that means we're going to see some big numbers when it's all said and done. Don't want to forget about Newberry County up here. You guys started seeing rain as early as about 1 o'clock. I think when I was in the noon show, you guys were seeing some rain. So there are some areas in Newberry County which had the first tornado warning, and Newberry, Prosperity, you guys are over 3 inches. You guys are at about 3.5, close to 4 inches of rain in those communities just south of I-26 in Newberry County. So the numbers are adding up. Of course, again, just to get back to those severe thunderstorm and tornado warnings that are in place. The main one that we're tracking right now, we're going to get back to that one. That is the one that includes the city of Columbia. That continues until 6:15. Aiken, Lexington, Richland counties. You all are under the gun with a tornado warning. This is not a drill. This is the real thing. The thing that you practiced last week in school and at your building, do it. This is what you're supposed to be doing right now. We are looking at a tornado warning that will continue until 6:15. Get to that lowest level. All indications show that there is a radar indicated tornado that is coming out of Aiken County, crossing, like driving really right down I-20 from Aiken County to Lexington County. That is not the place to be. I-20 would not be a good location right now. Some of the areas near that, Dominus, if you want to get back into that.
Well, I was going to tell you there's a new.
Gilbert.
No. Oh, wait. Well, what are we doing now, guys? Can you let us know where this is located? So this is Drew on I-20, and where's he located in I-20?
Not in Lexington County.
Is that in Lexington County or Richland? That's in Lexington County. Okay, so that's in Lexington County that we have our Drew Unks that has a roving camera at this point.
Be very careful out there.
Yeah. Let's be careful, guys, because we do have dark clouds. We also know that we have a tornado warning issue for Lexington and Richland counties until 6:15. And so these are going to be spots that we really need to be careful about as we continue going through. That's I-20. Let's see here. I just want to see what's happening. Yeah, I-20. Okay, so that's I-20, and so we're going to continue watching what's happening, but we see some dark clouds there. Not as dark as what we saw a bit earlier in Orangeburg County, but that's going to be something else we need to watch out for. It looks like we have a new severe thunderstorm warning. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, can somebody tell me what that is for just a second?
Barnwell, Orangeburg,
until 6:30.
Okay, so Aiken, Barnwell, Orangeburg, that includes a little sliver of Orangeburg County until 6:30 this evening. So we thank you, Kevin. So we do have this warning here that will continue rolling out of these storms rolling out of Aiken County, and they'll continue moving to the northeast. Again, that's until 6:30. Let's go back to this tornado warning, though. This is the one, and we'll go back to the Orangeburg one as well. But if we can put back on, it looks like they're chipping it away right now. So it's just for Lexington and Richland counties. Let's put back on the storm relative velocity for just a second, so we can look at the rotation itself. And it looks like overall this will be the area that we have the rotation. That's most likely going to take us out of areas, and let's see here. Yeah, it's about right there. Yep, you'll see it right there. So that has already crossed over from Aiken County into Lexington County, and so we're talking about areas a bit closer still to some area highway, and so there are going to be some spots here toward Ranch Road, most likely 178, again along I-20, and you'll see Ben Franklin Road there, areas near Live Oak Road. How about North Edisto Road, seeing some rough weather and some of the tightest rotation
today. And there's that rotation right there, 74, 75 mile an hour winds inbound and outbound from the radar. And now if you are over in Hardyville, Coosawhatchee, again, this storm continues to head up in your direction. Definitely be ready for that, being a safe space there, right over toward Rincon, and it looks like it's going to be just to the east of just on the other side of Guyton. But it looks like it's going to continue to stay pretty well developed here as it moves in that direction. Once again, I do want to show what it looks like as far as the time of arrival on these storms as they push in this direction. Again, the forward motion is about 20.
Palm Branch Road. Let's extend it out, and we can put a track on it, and that will take us up northeast, and that will likely cross over toward the town of Lexington as it gets closer to Red Bank, the city of Columbia as well. So if we could, if we could take that all the way out, and that's going to actually not take us all the way out, but we'll do our best. There you go. Lexington 601, Irmo at 607, near the city of Columbia at 611, and near Dentsville at 615. So we do know this storm will continue moving on this northeastward track through the county, through Lexington County, eventually crossing over into Richland County, and will likely impact some very populated areas here toward Red Bank, toward the town of Lexington, toward Casey, and areas in West Columbia, Irmo, and also the city of Columbia. So again, we need to get in that safe location right now. And Ron, you talked about it a little earlier, but we have our own rotation product that we can put on as well, and that will give us some indication. And this is where most of the rotation has been. In Aiken County. Now that rotation is crossing over into Lexington County along 20 here, and so as it continues on that track, we've got to pay attention to some of this. I mean, this is a Doppler radar indicated tornado right now. We haven't gotten confirmation of it on the ground, but our atmosphere is primed for tornadoes to develop. We've had some confirmed reports of tornadoes here in the Midlands today in parts of our state, so we do know that we need to take precautions here and go to that safe location, Lexington County, Richland County as well, because we have indications still on First Alert radar indicating that we do have rotation, and it's something that we can't play with this afternoon. Let's put back on the radar for a second, and we can show folks what's happening. You'll notice the heavy rain that we're tracking. This is over even toward Batesburg, Leesville, but Gilbert. It's going to be this little inflow notch, most likely near those little notches there, that we're seeing some of that rotation as this storm continues pushing to the northeast. And so for the folks, again, underneath this warning in Lexington and Richland counties, let's make sure folks are indoors. You're not outside storm chasing. You're not outside looking at the clouds at this point. Let's make sure folks are indoors in that sturdy structure, and make sure you're also bringing that blanket or pillow with you so you can protect yourself from any broken glass or flying debris. We've seen too much happening over the course of time with folks being injured from broken glass or debris happening from a tornado. So let's make sure you're as safe as possible, taking that blanket or pillow to that bathroom or even to that interior hallway or closet so you can protect you and your family. We're not done yet. Vaughn has put on a loop of the radar here over the past hour or so, and we still have thunderstorms over in Aiken County that we really need to watch out for. More thunderstorms in Orangeburg County and Clarendon County. Now, Vaughn, at some point we need to revisit portions of Orangeburg County and Clarendon County because we haven't talked about them in a while. I believe that warning is still up for parts of Orangeburg County, and that goes until about 5:45. So the time is now, are we past 5:45 now? We are. Okay, so we're past 5:45. There's one that goes until 6 as well, right? So one of these, or maybe both of these, that's Dorchester. This is until 6. Okay, so we have this one until 6. We have this one until 6:30 as well. So we do know that we have some rough conditions moving through Let's see. Yes, radar confirmed tornado. Yes, in I-20 Lexington County. Absolutely. Thank you, Vaughn. Thank you, Vaughn. Thank you, Vaughn, and Kevin, and Judy Gatson for that information there. You'll notice that we do have this one. So, Vaughn, let's move over and look at this one here for Orangeburg County until 6. That's going to show that we are still tracking this rotation, and hopefully things are starting to get better here. This has been this area that has had like a 1-2 punch of seeing rough weather through this area. Okay, so we're still seeing some broad rotation at least. So we're still seeing some of this. That's going to be a north of St. George along 90 or northwest of 95. And so a lot of this is continuing to move in this direction, which would still impact areas in Orangeburg County and maybe parts of Clarendon County. Looks like Clarendon County has been kind of taken out of this overall. And so hopefully we can start seeing more weakening and not as tight as rotation as we saw a bit earlier with this system moving out of Bamberg County again, moving northeast. And so that's what we're tracking now. I'm not sure we're going to get too many roads out of this one. All right. We have a new tornado warning. This is for Bamberg, Barnwell, and Orangeburg counties until 6:30. All right. So this is likely going to be for this one.
This one.
I think this is the one. That's until 6:30? Yes. So that's for Bamberg, Barnwell, and Orangeburg counties until 6:30 this evening. So we have a new warning. This now includes a different area of Orangeburg County. This is going to be west of Bowman, northwest of Branchville. We may be near the Cope area, I believe. We have to zoom into that one just to get a better view of it. But let me read the warning for you so folks can know what we're talking about. This is a Doppler radar indicated tornado that will be moving through Barnwell, Bamberg, and Orangeburg County, south central Orangeburg County until 6:30 this evening. This was a tornado located near Appleton or near Allendale, moving to the northeast at 45 miles an hour. So this storm has some speed with it. Moving to the northeast at 45 miles an hour, it will impact areas like Denmark at 6:15, Bamberg at 6:25, and those other areas in Orangeburg County that we'll have to watch out for. So this is an area here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 tornado warnings. We also talk about Lexington and Richland counties. We have that one too. But this is the other one that I was talking about. It will affect areas like Cope. We talked about that in Orangeburg County, Olar, Bamberg County Airport, Klein, and even Earhart. Those are areas that we need to watch out for. You'll see as we look ahead. There goes Cope. Hudson Road is a very long road in Orangeburg County. So this extension a bit closer to Cope, definitely going to see it. But the storm that we're tracking is likely to our south and east. It's a bit jumbled here. But this is going to be near Allendale. It does include Klein a bit, but it's likely going to be, I think it's this one. I think it's this one right there, closer to the bottom of the screen. I think this is this one. I think. I believe that's that one because it says closer to Allendale near Appleton. And so that will most likely take it to the northeast at 45 miles an hour. So again, we're trying to get our bearings straight because we have so many tornado warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings that we need to let folks know about. This one is not impacting our immediate viewing area right now, but Orangeburg County, you're in it. Let's go back to Lexington, Richland counties. Vaughn is already thinking ahead. So we've been working so long together that we know exactly what we're talking about and thinking ahead of time. As we look at Lexington, and again, it's going to be somewhat of this system here. And we probably need to put back on the storm relative velocity so we can see it better. That might give us a better indication. Okay, here. Let me get my bearings straight on this one. It looks like some of that rotation is starting. It's probably over here. But it looks like some of the rotation is starting to get a little bit better, probably a bit more broad.
Yeah, I just want to say that they did say they were going to remove the considerable wording because originally they did say that that tornado, that damage and that threat for 8 miles southeast of Batesburg, Leesville, that was moving at 50 miles per hour. They were going to kind of take down that wording a little bit. They were going to remove the word considerable, but they're still holding on to that warning, of course.
Okay, so that's great stuff there. We know that
large and extremely dangerous tornado there as well.
So it's weakening a bit. We do know with the correlation coefficient. Okay, the correlation coefficient can kind of show us a little bit. Well, thank you, Kevin. So we can show the correlation coefficient. and it's let's see, is it this area that we're talking about?
Yeah,
so
you
this
see
would
it
be
there?
so yeah. There's something still going on here.
No.
So that gives we kind of have a better idea that we have had something to happen because we're getting this discoloration here. So that would be the one as it showed a lot more
Headed to
movement
Pond Branch.
near Pond Branch Road. Yeah, near Pond Branch Road, approaching Old Charleston Road. So this is in Lexington County, east of I-20, moving kind of northeast here. And so that will give us indications that, yes, we have had something to happen. There's something kind of blowing around in the sky, most likely from a tornado. That's what this correlation coefficient is showing you, more of a debris signature. So we know that something has been going on here, mainly east of I-20 near Pond Branch Road and near Old Charleston Road, that we need to watch out for this one. Again, the rotation is weakening in southern Lexington County. That's what we're seeing, and they're removing that considerable tag on that warning. But we do know overall when we're seeing something like this, I'm glad meteorologist Kevin Arnone saw it, and it's moving to the northeast. And so that is of some concern in parts of southern Lexington County that we still have something going on. Let's not let our guard down. That warning will continue until about 6:15 this evening. So we do have this one that we need to keep in mind as it continues rolling again to the northeast. Go to the lowest level of your home. This is a very rural part of Lexington County, but some of this will be headed toward more populated areas of Lexington County that we need to watch out for as we look ahead this evening. Okay, so we have the tornado warning that continues even for Richland County. That includes city of Columbia and also near Casey, near the Irmo area as well. Vaughn, if we can turn some of that on as well and just show folks what we're tracking. A lot of heavy rain over these areas right now that we're watching out for. So these are going to be some spots near Pond Branch, near Edmond as well, kind of north and east of or northwest of there, and this will continue pushing to the northeast. Very heavy rain. The good news about it is that this one is showing some signs of weakening. So we're hoping that the warning will be canceled pretty soon. They may keep it up for a while, but it is showing signs of weakening. So that's a glimmer of hope for a lot of us that will continue to be the story, and we won't continue seeing a warned storm in areas in Lexington and Richland counties pretty soon. But we have been given, let's see, we have a new severe thunderstorm warning. We have two new severe thunderstorm warnings, one for Clarendon County until 6:45 this evening. So just letting you all know that. You may hear some other bells and whistles on your TV screen. We also have one for Barnwell and Aiken counties. That's until 6:30. So they have a new one. And so we're going to have to watch out for some of those as well. We have a shot. Oh, I'll talk about Bowman. Let's go to Bowman right now. We have a shot there from Orangeburg County that we can go to. And I believe that is Nick Neville there on the scene in Orangeburg County. So, Nick, if you can hear me, tell me what you've seen in portions of Orangeburg County this evening and what you're seeing there on scene.
He's not ready.
Can Nick hear me at all? Okay, that's okay. But since it's in Bowman area in Orangeburg County, well, we just got a report of a wind report there out of Orangeburg County. Let's see, reported wind damage, to a solar farm. That's along Highway 210 southwest of Bowman. So there's wind damage to a solar farm there. Nick seems to be getting situated to maybe talk to us a little bit in the rain. And so as we're getting his live shot up, he might be able to hear me. Nick, can you hear me right now? Tell us what you're seeing.
Yeah. Hey, Dominus. So yeah, we're off of I-26 in Bowman, Orangeburg County. We checked in with this gas station. There were some folks in here who were waiting, prepared to essentially take shelter. Very few people on the roads. A lot of flooding already just in this parking lot where we are. And it was raining very heavily for the last 20 minutes. The rain subsided just in time, basically, for me to get in front of the camera and give you this live report. But the rain was extremely heavy for about 15 minutes. The winds don't appear to be very strong at this point. But again, the rain was really bad. You can probably tell that I'm extremely soaked just from being out here. But not too many people on the roadways. And again, still some ominous looking clouds behind me as well.
We still have a new tornado warning that's issued for part of the area, but not including Bowman right now. So let's be careful about that. Vaughn, you've been talking about some of the storm reports, and this is the one we were talking about a bit earlier that we were seeing near the Bowman area right there. Okay, so damage to a solar farm along Highway 210 southwest of Bowman there. And so that's caused some problems. Again, not only, we've talked about this the past couple of days, we see gusty winds, but also tornadoes are possible. So we're seeing some of that ground truth there as well. Hopefully everyone is safe around that area. All right, we had some bells and whistles. We have a severe thunderstorm warning that's now been issued for Clarendon and Sumter counties. That's until about 6:45 this evening. So we're watching this new severe thunderstorm warning that hopefully will pop up on the map pretty soon. But we also need to revisit. We're going to go back to this one, but we really need to go back to this one too. This is until 6:15, the one for Lexington and Richland counties. We want to make sure folks are as safe as possible, as now we are in our 6 o'clock hour here on WIS. So thank you for joining us. We have a first alert day. Today is an alert day. We've been tracking several showers and storms that have been strong and even severe. And we have a couple of warnings here, but the most important one is that tornado warning for parts of Lexington and Richland counties until 6:15 tonight. If we can put on the radar, we can show folks what we're seeing. Some heavy rain. There has been a little weakening of some of this activity as it's moved through Lexington County, and we're seeing a lot of that as well. This is in Lexington County, correct? I believe we have this view here from one of our reporters. I believe this is Drew Ungst. That hopefully, I'm not sure if Drew has his mic and he can hear me, but if he can, Drew, can you tell us what we're seeing in this area? Or maybe the producer can tell me if he can hear us.
Yeah, can you guys hear us?
Yes, sir. You're good to go.
Yeah, so we're in Lexington County. What we've seen is we were in downtown Columbia a little bit earlier, and things have really kind of changed the way. It really showed how things can change with really the flip of a switch. We were in downtown Columbia. We weren't seeing much rain at all. Much of anything going on at that time. And then all of a sudden, you know, we kind of saw a downpour coming our way. The clouds shifted to more of a gray sky, and things really changed. And we're keeping an eye on the sky. We're kind of in an elevated area here in Lexington County, keeping an eye off into the distance for any kind of cloud changes, that kind of thing. But, you know, we were driving down the interstate, down I-20, and we saw a good bit of hydroplaning, a good bit of water on the roadways. But again, just want to reiterate how quickly things can change in just a subtle moment. We were all clear in downtown Columbia and drove just a few miles down I-20 towards Lexington County, into Lexington County, and things really changed fast. The rain started to fall significantly harder. The roads got a lot more saturated with water, and it really was in just a few minutes that things started to change. Right after we got that tornado warning in downtown Columbia, things started to shift, things started to change, and that's kind of what we're seeing right now. Right now, a slowing of the rain in the area that we're in, but we're definitely keeping an eye on the sky, and things have started to change out here in Lexington County, Dominus.
We have a few audio problems there, but overall we could hear you as well. So thank you for that update in Lexington County. And yes, we've seen some rough weather today, and we're still seeing a tornado warning for Lexington, Richland counties until about 6:15. The one thing that we have noticed is that some of the rotation is starting to wind down a little bit. It's starting to get a bit weaker. So that's always great news, but we can't let our guard down just yet until this warning is allowed to be canceled or it expires. So we still have heavy rain over the town of Lexington. You'll see this extension of Two Notch Road in Lexington County. Still seeing some rough weather there toward the Red Bank area, Old Barnwell Road as well, and Nazareth Road. And Vaughn, if we could put on that storm relative velocity again, we can kind of maybe show if we're seeing
severe thunderstorm right there, and that is just entering King Street right over Greeleyville, and you can see significant lightning with that. That is heading to the east at about 30 to 35 miles per hour. So no tornado warnings there. In fact, Bill, it looks like tornado warnings for our area. Nothing at the moment, but we're still watching numerous cells that are approaching our area that could exhibit us.
The radar was showing something that was going on there, most likely some debris. And when we show the correlation coefficient, we're talking about debris. And so most likely, can you roll that back one more time? And maybe we can roll it back and just see. All right, so that was 550, all right? So that was south of east of I-20 here. And so you'll see right there, 554. It didn't last long. We'll go again, 555. and then it's gone at that point. So overall, we've had some rough weather move through our viewing area, and we're still seeing that tornado warning, again, for Lexington and Richland counties for at least another 11 minutes or so. Let's make sure folks are still in that safe location. Let's go to the regular radar there. There you go. And we'll see overall, look what's happening here. We have heavy rain. We're not getting those indications that we typically see that will let us know that we still have some tight rotation or something that might still be on the ground. So we know things are starting to get better for Lexington and Richland counties. That's good news, and hopefully we'll get some indications pretty soon in the area that will let us know that we need to at least let folks know things have gotten a lot better and that warning will be taken down. But right now, that Richland, Lexington County area there, we have a tornado warning for you. That's until about 6:15. We also have another one for parts of the area. That includes areas in Orangeburg County. You'll notice the rain coming down. Again, this is our Drew Unks. He's been in Lexington County. Now they're parked. All right, because conditions have gotten worse. We do know that we don't want them on the road when conditions are like this, and we don't need you on the road as well. We're going through some of the same things you're going through, so let's make sure we're staying put at home, and we're also keeping an eye to the sky, especially with First Alert weather app. I hope you have that on your device and you're watching us on your TV screen as well. So as we look at what's happening here, that's in parts of Orangeburg, Allendale County. So what we need to do is revisit that system down in parts of Bamberg County. I believe that's Bamberg, and we're seeing some of that really bad rotation. Remember, we had that tornado warning that continues for areas in Orangeburg County until 6:30. And so as Kevin Arnone, he's been showing us in this area here, we saw this a bit earlier. All right, Vaughn, we saw this earlier. Let me see if I can go back to those areas in Allendale.
For the next little while, and as I kind of, again, spin it around a little bit, we're going to keep an eye on Gardens Corner, Buford, and whatnot. We're still seeing a little rotation back up here, up to St. George, up along I-95, over to Holly Hill, no rotation there. But this storm is the one that Chris just mentioned a few minutes ago, that the warning has expired, and it looks like that this storm is not being warned on at this moment. The rotation's not as tight, not as broad, but certainly back toward, on the other side of Earhart, back over toward Allendale. That storm we're continuing to track as well. And again, there's that area of rotation. Again, not as broad, but it is definitely seeing some rotation. Again, if you're over to Holly Hill, just kind of be on the watch there, be in your safe spot, because you can still see some pretty gusty winds with this. And as I mentioned, you can see right there over to Allendale, this is the one that we're watching very, very carefully, because it's got a very closed and a very strong couplet with those inbound winds and the outbound winds. The outbound being, of course, the red, the inbound to the radar site is the green. And again, that's how we can tell there is a rotation. That's right there around 301 and right down there toward, as you make your way back down, say 321, right there. Chris?
Yeah, it looks like, Bill, on a velocity here, we're looking at some tight rotation now developing near the Holly Hill area. Same spot where we had those tornado warnings. There is no tornado warning right now, but I do want to give you that first alert. Tight rotation has developed within the past minute near the St. George and Holly Hill area. You can see over the past, we'll say 15 minutes or so, this little couplet. So if you're watching from Holly Hill, we're looking at that rotation. Now, green is popping up as well. So remember, when we look at rotation, we do have wind going away from the radar site, wind coming to, and because these two are close together, that's forming that rotation, and that's why perhaps a tornado warning could be issued shortly. So I want to give you the first alert to that, as that rotation is now tightening up there. Also looking at some very strong wind for those of you folks near the Greeleyville area, Kingstree. Radar is detecting winds now up to 50, 60, even 70 miles per hour just above our heads. And as Bill was mentioning, if that air reaches the ground, that could lead to damaging winds. So we have that severe thunderstorm warning for those of you into Kingstree, that area, into the Williamsburg County region. We have that warning, and that is in effect once again until, let's see, the warning is in effect until looks like just after 6:30 for that area. But I am watching some very tight rotation now popping up near the Holly Hill area. If you're watching there, I want you to go to your safe space now, because this looks like this rotation is now tightening. I would not be surprised if within the next couple minutes a tornado warning is issued for this. This is right near Four Holes, also Holly Hill 314. You can see where we have that rotation popping up. Also zooming in, you can see right along 314, if you're in the area 15, that's where we could have the rotation. And if a tornado is on the ground, it would be right in this area here near Holly Hill. So even though that is not warned, We do have rotation that is beginning to tighten up. I also want to show you quickly a track of that other cell that is tornado warned. Now, it looks like the tornado warning is still in effect. If this maintains its strength, and I tracked it over the next hour, that one that had a tornado on the ground, it will be near Beaufort by 6:33, by 6:50 near the Ashepoo area, Adams Run by 7:03, and eventually, if we extend that, that could eventually approach downtown Charleston, perhaps North Charleston, James Island, Johns Island. So we'll have to watch this storm if it maintains its strength. We'll see if they extend the tornado warning to the east, but we are looking at some of that rotation right now. As we zoom in, not as pronounced, but it is there, and that's just about to enter the Ridgeland area. But I am watching once again, Bill, there's that, let's see, the rotation right here near St. George, Holly Hill. That is not warned right now, but that is very tight rotation on velocity near Four Holes, Holly Hill, and 176.
Has really tightened up. It became more broad over the last, 15, 20 minutes, and then it shows you how fast these storms can change, right? That now is tightening up. It could be a warned storm here very shortly. And again, as you look at some of these warned storms, I'll take you down to our red tactical mode. I do want to see where they're actually developing and where they're collapsing. And again, we're still talking about 40 or 50,000 foot tops. This is the one that's getting set to cross the Savannah River. So I've actually seen a little bit of a weakening on this, at least the forward flank of this storm as we kind of move it around a little bit. Here's Beaufort. You'll notice it's moving up toward the Ace Basin, still 40, 50,000 foot tops with the storm system. So we're watching that one for any weakening. Then the one Chris just talked about, let me take you again to red tactical mode. You can see our red sweeps cutting it right in half to give you that first alert 3D perspective. Again, from say 30, 40,000 feet, you can see there's Cross right there. There's Manning. There's still a lot of updraft right there. And certainly we're going to be talking about, as we spin it around here just a little bit, here's Holly Hill right up pretty much underneath this thing with the massive heavy rainfall and the wind. Again, the tops of these storms are a little less than the one down toward the Savannah River, right around, say, 30,000 feet, up to about 40,000 feet. But as they move and as they rotate, and as this one gets a little more closed rotation, as Chris just mentioned, we are going to be looking for a possible funnel. And again, as you look right here, we could be talking about maybe this area right here producing that funnel as it pushes off to the northeast there as we look into red tactical mode into 3D. And once again, you can clearly see that rotation just on the other side of Holly Hill. And this one is racing pretty quickly to the north and east, as a matter of fact. Let's see how fast Chris will tap on that and take a look at the times of arrival on this one. And again, this is just to the north and east of Holly Hill, heading up in toward just on the other side of, say, Manning in Clarendon County. Again, racing to the northeast about 54 miles an hour, heading toward Greeleyville at about 640, Sardinia right there at about 650, Kingstree right around 652, Tuberville right there around 655 as you take a look right there. But that's this one right here. So if you're in that path of that one, be on the lookout. Seeing a little bit of an early rotation back over toward St. Stephen, mostly rain with that one. But as I kind of go back again, and with this warning, remember, red is a tornado warning. Red and white is a tornado spotted on the ground. That is an actual tornado that is spotted on the ground. And as you take a look there, just on the other side of Allendale, that is the one that continues to show that incredible rotation right there. Still very, very strong. Let me get you a little closer as you look at, we'll zoom in here just a little bit with our, right there with our zoom tool, and there's Earhart right there. But look at that rotation right there, Chris. That is right there as you look really between 301, just on the other side of Olar, and again over toward say 64. Again, that is definitely a very strong rotation we find. Let's check and see if we have some. We'll check the coalition and check out the debris. And again, as you look at that, this is part of the dual polarization radar, which is part of the new radar. Look at that debris ball. Look at this. Right there, that's debris. Right there, that is something we'll have to watch very, very, very closely. Obviously, that is what we call a debris ball. That's showing that something is being pulled up into the atmosphere. That's not a hydrometeor. It's not rain. It's not anything but. Could be wood, it could be fencing, it could be anything, shingles or whatnot. So our coalition coefficient debris tracker does show that is a debris ball right there. Chris?
All right, so I just want to update you. We now have a tornado warning, which includes Beaufort. We've been tracking that cell. If we can pull me up here at the desk here. Tornado warning now includes those of you in Beaufort. This was just issued within the past minute. This tornado warning, let me show you exactly where this is issued. And you can see here, this includes Sheldon and Beaufort. This is in effect until 7 o'clock now. this evening. As we've been warning you about this storm, it is maintaining its strength. It is moving to the northeast. So if you're watching from Beaufort, now is the time to get into your safe space, because within the next, we'll say, half hour, this storm will be in your area. So you can see that includes Sheldon, Beaufort. We'll zoom into a few more towns nearby. That includes also Wilkins, Datow Island, Frogmore. You can see 802, and this is in effect once again until 7 o'clock. Let me get the timing on the cell for you, because we are watching that new tornado warning that has just been issued. Now, that does not include those of you right now on Edisto Beach, Little Edisto, zooming into Wadmalaw Island. However, if this storm maintains its strength, would not be surprised if that tornado warning gets extended. So once again, just updating you, if you just joined us, time is just about 6:15, and we are tracking a storm capable of producing a tornado. One was already on the ground near the Savannah area. This is now in effect until 7 o'clock. Let me show you on velocity what we're looking at. And then you can see that tight rotation here. This is right approaching I-95. Let's time this out for you. So let me get the speed of the storm, and this is moving to the northeast at about, as we look at it, it's moving northeast at 30 miles per hour. So let me put that time into our track, and we'll show you where the storm is going within the next hour. So let me pull up our radar, live Super Doppler Max. We'll time out this cell, and where the storm is going within the next hour, as I move it up to the northeast within about an hour here, this will eventually approach Beaufort, 624. So within the next 9 minutes, this storm capable of producing a tornado will be over your area. If you're watching from the Ashepoo area, Pond, Adams Run, you're in the path of the storm as well, should it maintain its strength as it's moving to the northeast. So we are tracking this over the next hour. We are watching that storm capable of producing a tornado. I do want to show you, if you have friends or family with that other tornado near the Allendale area, you can see now it's near Bamberg. The National Weather Service is classifying this as a large, extremely dangerous tornado on the ground. A definite sign of debris. Now, the radar is sending a beam out, and it's indicating what's in the atmosphere. And where you see this blue right here by 301, that's the radar estimating that there's non-uniform debris being lodged in the atmosphere, meaning there could be wood, other debris on the ground. So anytime you see this dark blue by 301 near Earhart, that's the radar indicating that there's non-meteorological objects, whether it be wood or other debris, and that means a tornado is likely on the ground. In fact, this is a confirmed tornado on the ground approaching 362. But anytime you see on our debris map those blues, that's indicating the radar picking up that there is debris being lodged up into the atmosphere at high rates of speed. So a classic tornado on the ground. Once again, radar detecting that we have debris flying up into the atmosphere. We are watching that one, but also we're watching that tornado warning that now includes the Beaufort area. So we are watching that. Let me put it on live Super Doppler Max once again. Zooming in near the Ridgeland area, also into a Port Royal, Beaufort. You are now included in that tornado warning. And this cell is moving up to the northeast. Let's put it into motion over the past hour. You can see significant cloud-to-ground lightning. And if this storm maintains its strength, if you're watching from Edisto, that storm could be over your area within the next hour. So, Bill, we were just covering that. Definitely things are breaking right now for our warnings and watches.
Yeah, indeed. Those two areas we are focused on that. One moving out of the Beaufort County area. You folks in the Ace Basin, eastern Cowden, southern Charleston, eastern Dorchester County. We'll be watching that. Also that area up toward Earhart. These are all the warnings, and you can see that energy, all that stuff that we gave you the first alert to over the last couple of days. Said, hey, that's why Wednesday is a first alert weather day. That's why we call these first alert weather days. So you get that first alert. If you're watching us online, on air, and on the app, we'll continue to be with this as long as necessary as we continue to track these right here, as well as Facebook. We appreciate you folks watching on Facebook as well. Now, I want to show you what's happening with the storm down in the Beaufort. Again, we're going into red tactical mode now, okay? This gives us a 3D look at what's going to happen with the storm. We are seeing the storm staying pretty strong. There's the top, 60,000 feet. As I spin it around just a little bit, look at this. You can see Beaufort right there, 60,000 foot tops. Those are pretty high storm tops. So again, when you look at that, that energy going up, being lifted into the atmosphere and coming down, and of course rotating around that funnel, that TVS, we call it a tornado vortex signature. Once again, this is the one that we were watching up toward Holly Hill. Again, in red tactical mode, we look into 3D, and again, as it cut it in half, this is about 40,000 to 45, maybe 50,000 feet. As we zoom around here just a little bit, we are still looking at this storm. It's a very healthy storm. You can see that that anvil and those updrafts right there. See those updrafts updrafts right there rotating around that storm. And again, some of these updrafts can be over 100 miles an hour. Let's go down to Allen, down to toward the this is toward Earhart and Bamberg. This is the one that we were just talking about that Chris was mentioning, which is a very dangerous tornado on the ground. Again, in our red tactical mode, 40, 50,000 foot tops, but you can clearly see how much altitude these storms have and how much vertical motion there is in the atmosphere. And again, when you talk about these things coming down to the surface, spinning, they do cause a lot of damage over a short amount of time. We've already had a lot of damage reports. We've got video on social media, house destroyed down in Allendale by the first cell that moved down through. And again, there's Hampton way over here. Here's Allendale. And again, as we look at the tops of these clouds, they're rather impressive. And again, as we pull on out here just a little bit, there's the TVS there over to Holly Hill. And here's the other one. Look at this, Chris. This is multiple TV. This is just showing that very fast rotation. Again, that one right there is one that could do a lot of damage and kill somebody. So we want to make sure all of these could do that, certainly. But as they get tighter, as they get stronger, that's why we stay on the air with this, and that's why we watch how fast they're moving and to give you that first alert when they're going to show up. For example, as you take a look there, just on the other side of Allendale, this one system is moving to the northeast. That one cell that Chris just talked about 44, 45 miles an hour. Again, heading toward Bamberg at 638, Branchville at 651, Roseville there at about 654, about 6,000 people in the path of this storm. And again, it continues to pull up. Tornado impact is a 9.6 on this one, so that's pretty high. So again, it does show you there is a tornado on the ground with this storm as it moves in that direction. Tornadic storm moving northeast at 44. Once again, get in your safe space if you're in Bamberg, Branchville, Roseville, pretty much right in the path of that storm. I'll take that off the screen. This is going to go to the west, it looks like, of St. George again, and it might impact the Holly Hill area again up towards Santee. And again, these are training cells of storms. It's sort of like a locomotive. You have car after car after car, you have cell after cell after cell, and the energy in the atmosphere continues to develop these cells, one right in behind the other one. And again, there's that one. And again, back down toward Hampton, we're watching this one very carefully, moving up toward the Ace Basin. So again, be on the watch for both of these over the next hour and a half or so. And let me just kind of show you once again, this is the area of debris that we've been tracking. And we had a clear debris ball a little while ago. And again, as Chris mentioned, our dual polarization radar, as the radar beam goes out, we can get a better look at, and as it comes back, we can get a better look at whether it's actually rain out there or debris. This is really something new with the dual pole radar. It shows us the coalition coefficient. In other words, it figures what is a hydrometeor, what's weather, and what is not weather, what is either a bird, a biologic, or a piece of debris. And this is clearly, Chris, that is a classic debris ball right there, and right around this system, which is just over toward Clear Pond, just on the other side of Hughes, heading toward 362. So as you look right there, this energy that's causing this debris right here is going to be heading in this direction here, as you mentioned, very rapidly, about 44 miles an hour. Chris?
All right, but while I'm watching one storm right now near Holly Hill, and this is a severe thunderstorm warning for a possible tornado. Let me show you on Velocity what I'm looking at, and this is very tight rotation. I would not be surprised as this moves into the Wilmington Weather Service forecast area if that gets warned upon, because right over Utahville, I want to show you right now how tight this rotation is. Let me show you what radar is estimating wind speeds to be. Velocity close to 70 miles per hour. So you get the idea. That couplet is tightening. Now that is a severe thunderstorm warning for a tornado possible. It's not a tornado warning, but you should treat it as a tornado warning because this is very tight rotation near the Utahville area, right near 45. You can see that bright pink showing up on radar. In fact, let me time the cell out for you over the next few hours, or I should say the next hour. This is moving fast, 65 miles per hour to the northeast. Now, if you're watching in Kingstree, Greeleyville, you are in the path of the storm, which could produce a tornado. So you want to make sure you're near your safe space now. Get ready to get in it because it looks like we have the severe thunderstorm warning just issued now for that area. So by about 6:41, this storm should be over Greeleyville, Martin's Crossroads by 6:47. Kingstree, if you're watching from there, get ready because that storm will be in your area by 6:51, and this is exhibiting very tight rotation. In fact, we do have a few severe thunderstorm warnings in effect. The one for Kingstree 6:45 p.m. is its expiration. And then you can see a severe thunderstorm warning, which also includes Cross and St. Stephen. That's part of Berkeley County there. That's in effect until 7 o'clock for those strong winds. But I do want to show you the rotation that we're looking at with the cell. And I got to tell you, this is very strong rotation here near the Utahville area, Utah Springs as well. Anytime you see these bright, we'll say white colors here, that's indicating very strong wind just a couple thousand feet above our head. So that means that should that be reaching the ground, that could produce damage. And we're watching for that potential as this strong rotation, once again, wind coming to and away from the radar site. I'll show you what I mean here. You can see the wind going away from the radar site and coming to here. So right where this rotation is near the Utahville, Utah Springs area, if a tornado is on the ground, let me show you where it would be. It would be in this area right here, right near Utah Springs. That's where we could be watching a potential tornado if it is on the ground. So we have that severe thunderstorm warning for a tornado possible, meaning that there could be a tornado that could spin up rapidly in the cell. So if you're watching from Utahville, Utah Springs, even as we zoom out here into the area near, we'll zoom out a little bit more. This is right over the Edytown area too, Pineville, up into Kingstree Lane. This rotation is heading your way, and I also want to show you as well, we are watching that strong rotation near the Bamberg area where that large dangerous tornado is on the ground. You can clearly see that there is perhaps debris near the Bamberg area. When you see those colors on radar, that's the radar indicating that there's non-meteorological objects, meaning wood. It could be signing from homes, and that is showing up right now on radar. So we are watching, once again, that potential for this activity, and we'll put this into motion because we're still watching the main line that will be crossing, and we are watching this activity. So now we'll send it over to Chief Meteorologist Bill Walsh. Bill?
All right, Chris, as we continue to watch the warnings here in the area, I do again want to take another look and examine this one cell that we were just talking about in our red tactical mode. Again, this is the one over near Bamberg moving that Chris just talked about that has a possible funnel cloud associated with this. In fact, a confirmed funnel cloud with this. Again, the tops of these are around 40,000 feet. So again, if you are in the path of that storm, definitely take shelter as we speak. Now, this area that's back up here, back down. Yes, sir. We got something new.
Down near the Kingstree area. It's technically Clarendon in Orangeburg County. Yeah, so let me just show you where that is quickly. That is now just coming in. If we can take me at the desk, please. This is where the storm, remember we were just talking about it, treated as a tornado warning? Well, here we go. A tornado warning is now just popped up for this rotation near Utahville. So as I mentioned, remember, even though it's a severe thunderstorm warning, a tornado could touch down quickly, and here's that tornado warning. Let me show you where it is on the box quickly, as this is just coming into the First Alert Storm Center here near Utahville, and I will zoom on in. If you're watching from Forston as well, near Kingstree, there's a tornado warning that is now in effect. You see a split here between the warnings. That's because there's two different weather service offices. So I would say this entire area, treat it as a tornado warning. So you can see the left side, that's the Columbia Weather Service office issuing that tornado warning. On the right side is the Charleston Weather Office. But the bottom line is that we do have a storm now capable of producing a tornado moving in. So Bill, you're getting a sweep of that storm as well.
Yeah, in fact, in red tactical mode, you can see right here, I pulled that one up right here, Chris. And again, this is the one that you just talked about. Here's Utahville. And again, we're talking about 30 to 40,000 foot tops right here on this one cell. So as our sweeps kind of cut this thing in half, we can see just how much energy there is. And of course, with that rotation that Chris was just talking about, it will continue to push on up toward Greeleyville. There's Manning. But again, you can see the tops of those clouds within some of these shafts. You can see sometimes 100-mile-an-hour up drafts or downdrafts. Of course, with this one, it is rotating. So again, if you're out in Kingstree, that new warning now has just been issued. So we're watching that, and we'll jump back down here and spin the world around a little bit. Again, red tactical mode shows us 3D, shows us what's happening within the storm cell itself to give you that first alert. And again, you can see 30, 40,000 foot tops right there. This is the one down not far from Bamberg, between Bamberg and Allendale. Again, look at the amount of rotation within that cell. That is a lot of rotation. The computer's picking up where there are rotating cells, where the rotation is, and that's the one that's very dangerous. That's the one, in fact, that we were warning on here for the last while. Yeah.
We also have another tornado warning that has just popped up, which includes St. George, Smokes. If we can take me at the desk quickly, I'll show you where this is. This is just coming in now within the past minute. Let me show you our warning here. New tornado warning, and this actually, let me look at this warning because this has that white box. It looks like this is a damaging tornado. It was a tornado-producing storm moving northeast at 45 miles per hour. It looks like this tornado looks like it could be on the ground. This is right near I-26, if you know this area, between mile markers 172 and 174 on 26. This now does include the St. George area. You were under a tornado warning earlier. Another tornado warning has just been issued, and that also includes Smokes. So if you are watching, we're now watching several tornado warnings pop up. The first of which is this one, which is of more importance with that white color here around the box. That's the Weather Service indicating that this could be perhaps a dangerous tornado. Look at the velocity here. You can see some of that very tight rotation here near Toby's Bluff, Miley as well, and that is heading to the east. And